I think it's already happening. So it's been happening for
All
a
right.
while.
I'll watch for the red button up there. Thank you.
Okay, good morning. Welcome to the June 1st Ford Raleigh County Commissioners meeting. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's impossible.
It just went the other way.
I know.
I know.
Okay, any public comment? Okay, then we'll go to commissioner comments. Commissioner McClain.
Had another call about the problems with township roads weekend, and I told him we'd been looking into seeing what we've done. Then I had another call that about the Tuttle Creek Boulevard and Dam, that the intersection 13. He said, that's skeptical when they did all this thing. He said, well, it seems to be working fine. He says, can we just ask KDOT to leave it alone and eliminate the roundabout? And I told him, I said, I think they've got their heart set on that. That's gonna happen. Other than that, I had a good weekend. Sunday with my brothers, and Monday, my oldest daughter and her family came out. And then also we got a call from my youngest daughter announcing her engagement. So,
Congratulations.
so, well, and then after Sunday was with my brothers. One of my brothers got a call from his son that they got engaged. So, both of them were second tries, but and then yesterday we had a progress meeting of the North County Ambulance Project. It's seems to be going real well, and they early next week, depending on the weather, early next week it should be a 4th floor slab.
Oh, cool.
Going right along.
That's great.
That's all I've got.
Okay, Commissioner Ford.
You said June.
It is June 1st.
I don't know where May went to.
I blinked and spring just disappeared, I guess. Looks
Yeah,
like
I
we're
know. No, I
gonna
can't
get this
remember.
round of rain, and then that's probably gonna be summer. That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
well, we jumped from April to June.
Correct.
We did.
We have that like
Twice.
week of monsoon, and it's 100 degrees, 1000% humidity till September. Then it's football season.
New Big 12.
It'll be interesting. It's gonna be interesting.
Texas is still here, but we got some new
Perfect.
teams coming in.
For
Yeah.
a couple. I think this might be the last year with Texas and
Yeah.
Oklahoma. So,
Yeah.
well, anyway. Let's see, last Thursday, listened in on May's Connecting Kansas County Zoom call hosted by KAC. The feature presenter was Jack Linham, Senior Partner Manager with the National Fitness Campaign. He discussed the NFC and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas grant funding, which will be coming in 2024 with a new initiative called Bring a Fitness Court to Your Community. Or some strange for me to say after all these years, but kind of into fitness. So this conversation was right up my alley, or right while it was in my court. See what I did there? Okay. I'm here all meeting. This work will be making a call on all county government leaders, civic and educational leaders, as well as community champions to fight against sedentary lifestyles and preventable diseases by helping everyone work together to increase outdoor activities, wellness activities that are accessible and free. Basically, what they say within a 10-minute bike ride of every American. They didn't add scooters and some other things in there. So I don't know how really that'll work out, but a really, really good program. And I hope they implement it and it becomes very successful. Also on Thursday, I met with Lori Feldkamp, Director of Big Lakes Development, took a tour of the facility and went through some more in depth of some of the challenges and issues that are facing her agency, most of which have been issues for a long time, to be totally honest with you. But 2019 was the last time I had a chance to visit the facility, and a lot has changed in that 4+ years. So it's good to kind of catch up there. Friday, I went out to Clay Center. I attended Pawnee Mental Health annual ACS 10 picnic at the Utility Park and City Zoo. Really good afternoon. It was a really nice afternoon to be out and about. And the zoo that they have up there, if you haven't checked that out, it's pretty nice for a small city zoo. They had a lot of birds just hanging out, kind of friendly too. And yeah, we've got a nice little path that kind of walks through there, and they've set that up very, very well. And it was good afternoon. Enjoyed sitting there talking with everybody, and it was a good day to have a picnic of sorts. On my way home, I spoke with Matthew Self, a reporter for KSNT out of Topeka. Some new census data came out indicating that we're the only county in the state that's in a persistent poverty range. There's a lot of different dynamics to it, but had a good dialogue with him. Followed up and saw the article that he wrote, and did a real good job with it. I didn't have anything. Yeah. I just think the transient of our community and some other factors kind of lead to that. And it is what it is. It's something I know that we're all working on and we'll continue to work on. So like I said, we had a good conversation. Article was good. It was factually based, so I certainly appreciate that. Also on my way home, I did stop, speaking of the North Ambulance Facility, I did stop to see progress on that site. Was pretty impressed. Yeah, I hope the weather holds up so they can get the floor pulled, but I've built a lot of those buildings in the time. So once that floor is poured and they get everything laid out, boy, it just goes out quick. So then it'll just be all the interior work.
That's the slowest part.
It is. But I think our design was pretty simple, so it shouldn't be too bad. So I maybe could see mid to late September. Could see it. I think it's possible. We'll keep our fingers crossed, right? And made one last stop on my way home. I did stop by Fork in the Road at Riley for the first time in person. Honestly, I probably shouldn't have. I picked up a whole bunch of goodies that I probably really didn't need, but it was Memorial Day weekend, so I kind of pushed those out. And I had a ton of cinnamon rolls, and I was told that they usually don't that time of the day, so I take advantage of that. Got some with the regular vanilla frosting, peanut butter frosting. Gosh, I'm hungry this morning now, so I'm just gonna stop there.
Where are they?
Yeah, I was gonna actually bring some in, but I ended up going to an afternoon cookout on Monday, and well, that's where they went. So next time. So, and yeah, speaking of Memorial Day, I was able to take in two separate events on Monday. First was out at the Kansas Veterans Cemetery off of Wildcat Creek Road. Once again, I had the cemetery just decorated beautifully, and it was just professional and just full of grace. Thankful for who all put all that together. The guest speakers included the governor of Kansas, Laura Kelly, and Captain Lieutenant Luke Admire. We also had a roll call, moment of silence. There was a placing of two wreaths, and all of us took a carnation and laid it out across the other part of the cemetery there around the American flag that was draped at half staff for the day. The second event I attended was out at the Valley View Cemetery with the VFW Post 786. They too spent a lot of time decorating, which I thought was amazing. They didn't have a large group of people to do that. They asked if I'd be willing to give a keynote address, which I was honored to do, explaining what the true meaning of Memorial Day is. And there was quite a good crowd out there, so it went very well. And Monday was a good afternoon to be out and about too. It wasn't blowing 8,000 miles an hour like it was last year. So thank you, Mother Nature, for that one. Tuesday afternoon, there was a monthly board of directors meeting with Pawnee Mental Health. I missed both the in-person and virtual meetings because of things I was working on at work. Just to give a quick update per the agenda, Finance Committee, which I'm also on, met before there to go over March and April's finances. Robin pretty sure she gave her standard chief executive officer's report. But that was both for March and April because we didn't have a meeting in April because of the annual meeting that they had. So we also had two program updates, community services group and the diversion and inclusion group. Marketing development gave a report. The finance committee did so as well. And then we had there was discussions on renewals for insurance, which pretty much standard, I guess, for everybody this time of the year. And they had an executive session as well. And I'm going to end on Manhattan being listed #1 for mid-sized cities in the United States by the group Travel Awaits. Had a really nice write-up. Kind of wrote up a better scenario for us there. Also want to give a shout out to Abilene, who was listed #1 for small cities as well. I guess that's the third time in a row. Yeah, they've kind of so much that they kind of maybe just shrug on that one, but I guess all in all, Kansas was well represented on that list, and probably says something for our region too. So just wanted to mention that this morning. That's all I've got.
Well, I believe they have the carrot ready too.
And the belt buckles. Got to go over there sometime to get
Oh,
one.
yeah. Anyway, Thursday, I was in the office and we finished a letter to 10 property owners on surrounding areas in Keats. Got it to Cindy that afternoon, and I was hoping to get it out by Tuesday, but we actually had it all together, so right in the mail on Friday. Copy to you today. I've had one response to it this week, not necessarily positive, but it wasn't totally negative. So anyway, Friday had several medical appointments that time in the office. Got a clearance on my knee. That's okay after a year. We had a little upset in the neighborhood. I live at the west entrance of Annenberg Park. There's a barricade there that goes into a trail that goes over the bridge into Annenberg. Somebody decided they were going to break through the barricade and drive on the walking trail. And I couldn't get across the bridge with a big barrier in the middle of it. So came back and almost ran over a couple of people. I just like, that's crazy. You never have that kind of. So the police came and
Can't do it out of Pillsbury, so they're finding another park to do it.
yeah, well, it was one person, and
It only takes
I was working in the yard, and he went by me. I'm like, what's going on? So anyway, but he took off, and there was a whole group of people down there who failed to get his license plate. They were looking for people with a ring camera to try to figure out who he was, or I just didn't know. Anyway, but they got a barricade put back up, and okay, that was weird. Monday caught up with household chores and went to the Brookville Hotel for lunch. That was like packed, so it was really a great chicken dinner. They had chicken and steak. Yeah, it's hard to.
And Brookville chicken is just,
I know,
they're doing it by recipe. It's just amazing.
It's really good. Yeah, and then Monday went back to Abilene. That was on Saturday we went to Brookville. On Monday we went back and rode the train to Abilene. Several friends celebrated the birthday and lunch at the Hitching Post, which was really good. But there were a lot of people, and I can see why Abilene was named the destination with the Eisenhower library there, and so Tuesday spent time in the office, emails some appraiser information to a property owner in Keats. If it sold that property to us. Also added into the email list that Amanda uses to update citizens. Wednesday, I had a dental appointment and worked on a report with Brian Foster concerning our analysis of some private wastewater systems in the area. One of them was out on Highway 24, Illinois. So we done an analysis of that on how it can work with rural areas and what the upkeep is. So that should be out. That should be finished today. Yesterday evening, I went to community dinner in Keats. Like I'm saying, a lot of time, and that was really good. It was. I think it's part of the senior citizens group because there were a lot of, that was really
Lions. Might think the Lions.
well. The Lions people were there. It's their. They those cops. Yeah, it's part of that.
They have a regular
Yeah.
border. There's always a sign out there.
Yeah.
Having community meals.
Well, it was good fun. I didn't talk about sewer problems or anything, just kind of
That's
got to
good. Yeah,
talk to
this is-
people, so, which was good. Good food. I love those. Meals. But, so that's all I have.
It's business?
Yeah.
First item we have is tax roll corrections, commissioners. Need a motion.
Man, I never have anything fun to start a business meeting off with.
We're on roll.
We already talked too much about that this morning. All right, you know what? There's no questions. I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve and sign the tax roll corrections.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to sign the tax roll corrections. All in favor?
Aye.
Sure, please, son. Next, commissioners have highway use permit for Evergy permission to work in right of way, installing new overhead electric line to serve new house on West 59th Avenue.
I make a motion then to approve the highway use permit, allowing Evergy to do work on 59th Avenue.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to approve the highway use permit for everything. For tonight, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Sure, please, son.
Couldn't find the house up there. No.
Next, commissioners, need a motion to approve payroll and accounts payable.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the payroll and accounts payable. All in favor?
All right.
All three sign, please. Commissioner, got a renewal notice from the Association of the United States Army, AUSA. Currently, we have John and Catherine as the members. It's the membership allows you two representatives from your entity. The options are a one year membership for two members, $175, or we can do 3-year membership for $475. I think we've always just done an annual, but want to be sure, see if you want to renew and keep the same two commissioners on there.
I'm in visual. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
Is it cheaper to do it for 3 years?
Yeah. It is.
Might not be a bad idea.
Oh, okay.
Definitely cheaper for 3 years.
And it's how much for 3 years?
$475.
Yeah, it's about a $40 a year savings approximately. I'm okay with doing that for 3.
Yeah, me too. I think saving some money as much as we can. It's
We need to make a motion, Rich.
I just put my consensus if that's okay, commissioners.
That works for me.
Thank you. Any changes to the minutes, commissioners? Like a motion?
Go ahead and, excuse me, go ahead and make a motion to approve the minutes from the Riley County Commission meeting, May 25th, 2023.
I'll second.
Spoon moved and seconded to approve the minutes from May 25th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Tentative agenda is okay, commissioners? Any items for next week's press conference? Just the commissioners know, we do have a filing deadline at noon today, so I'll exit here about 11:45, and then you'll come over, just in case I'm. You get over there.
Got pretty close, 15 minutes. We can get 4 people in.
Well, it's more, sometimes people like to. I don't want people to procrastinate. It's intentional, obviously, but we have had people that want to do it right at 12 and their 12 o'clock may not be our 12 o'clock, and we gotta tell them they're too late. Sometimes they're not happy about that, so.
Well,
Want to procrastinate, do those things, then it is what it is.
At Riley City last week, this was that somebody was talking about signing up, like, it said June 1st deadline. I said at noon. I said that's at noon. I said, because somebody's coming in afternoon and not been in. Oh, really? Oh, I saw, she already did it last week. Signed up.
yeah.
Anybody else see the SpaceX tanks come through?
I saw,
I saw a picture of them getting stuck.
I saw somebody down in Wichita posted on their Facebook as it was happening, and I thought, well,
Well,
I thought it was just a shooting star, what it looked like to me, but
Come through Kansas City, they said somehow, and then they came, and you've been at that. Coming down 24 in Riley, making that right turn
Oh.
at Dollar General, and there's 2 of them. There was a half hour that
They were
traffic
there,
was stopped. Yeah, and
The 80 or what?
no, they're headed to Texas. I can't find out where they came
Right.
from, but said they were going to Texas for the SpaceX.
Yeah, the state wouldn't give them authority to use the interstate, they had to use back roads.
Oh, really? Oh, that's.
And I don't know what, because if they'd gone on 83, that other one,
283.
there was a 283, the farther one, it's a lot bigger intersection. That one, but those trucks were amazing. And you had a push, one in front and one behind it on each one, and then these. The main trailer was holding the big tank. But the wheels on each end of it were evidently separate. They could steer it, because they turned it around, this one would go this way, and this one would go this
Like a
way.
fire truck kind of.
Yeah. And they had a whole fleet of guys out with walkie-talkies talking to each other, going, you know, because the first one had to get closer to this side and clear up to that side and then come
Just to
back.
get around
And
the
then
cor-
to get around that sharp corner took them forever. And
Oh, goodness. That must be
they were
quite
about
exciting.
done, and I didn't think about it. I was out in the backyard, heard trucks idling, couldn't figure out what it was, so I went out and bought it. And if I thought I'd call, some of the RCPD guys showed up, and you could tell he was talking to them saying, why didn't you call us? You know, because they had traffic, and they had a bunch of people stopping traffic.
Oh, I
and
bet they
everything.
did. Yeah.
But I was trying to read up on them. I said they're 18-foot diameter, 300 feet long.
Oh, wow.
They weigh. They say 600 pounds, and they're empty. I don't know what they're made out of, but they're,
I don't know how they get those into space.
yeah.
A lot of fuel.
It's die cast aluminum.
Because I tried looking online to find out
Something
about
that's
it.
made out of.
No,
It looks heavy, but it's pretty lightweight.
Well, they said it, they listed, well, I mean, the trucks and everything, like I say, they had, somebody counted, they said they thought they counted 98 wheels on each one.
98. Oh.
Because each one of those things on each end of it had, you know, had like 40 tires on it. They had a trailer or a little car here and one here, you know, with the trailer had hooked on each one of them. Each one of them had like 3 sets of dual tires. I mean, they were, you know, to spread the loads out. But
Good.
tried, I'd seen that on the news, I found something in the news on Kansas City when I went to Kansas City. And they said there was one in Texas, and then I saw later on this, I saw one going south out of Kansas.
Yeah, they're going down to Kennedy Space Center in Houston.
Yeah,
That's
That
probably
makes
what
sense.
That's where they're gonna shoot them off at. I read that.
Better watch out of there.
Yeah.
But they were,
They usually run away.
couldn't figure out why they, where they came from in this. They didn't know these, that they were coming through all these little side roads and.
That's crazy. Well, I can see them not wanting to go down interstate.
Just like they
Yeah.
couldn't get around it, they'd have to pull over and go around it once in a while. But on this narrow state highways.
For me.
They're going up that way, and probably coming back around on 51 or something.
I don't know, because it came out, I can't remember where it was, I was reading, I saw something later on about it. It's one of Wichita Station, it wasn't in Wichita, it was west. Yeah.
Yes. Is that is that,
It's not even.
is that the private company?
Yeah.
Are we not like based on
Elon Musk.
Musk thing?
My son followed that like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
My son's one of those that wants to go out in outer space, you know?
Oh, I didn't think about it later. I should have
I heard it
taken
in
pictures. It's like, you know, it looks like it's wedged in the corner, but, you know, and but they added, you know, they said this way. Like I say, to the crate, so each end of it steered independently. And
So they were able
then like they had semi truck pulling it, and we want to push it into that.
I guess they really. It's been a while.
And they did, like, they had a bunch of people directing traffic. Yeah. Standing out there in each corner in the intersection, telling them, no, we're not. It was quite an operation.
You know, that could be great.
I got it out there, and that's why I think they're still there. Like, what's going on? Walked over there.
Back amongst the living?
I'm still not well,
Nope.
still not well. I can tell you this, if you ever take a high strength antibiotic to fight a bacterial infection in your body caused by tick bites, and you have a reaction to that antibiotic, you're gonna have a really bad couple of hours.
Oh,
A really bad.
I was talking to the post commander at VFW on Monday. He got bit by a tick and has full on Lyme disease.
They are
Really?
so thick in the field this year that I'm taping up my pants leg, but I had several. And I won't say that I'm attracted to lions, but I did get a pretty good body ache, high fever.
Yep. Guess it's that time of the year to stay inside.
yeah, I got a lot of ticks in my.
It'll be football season soon. I won't worry about it.
They're just, we've had that type of spring, we've had a lot of moisture and the weeds and ticks.
And not a harsh winter.
Yeah. That's the big.
Although I've done some research on ticks recently, and I'm told that the harsh winters don't really affect population. Because like ticks like Wisconsin and around Lake Michigan are infested with ticks, they get down to -30. So,
Well, it also has to do with long periods of time because, you know, game and wildlife and stuff that they feed on aren't quite as active when it's cold, so they don't move around as much, but
Well, unfortunately, I guess the problem we're having is, cat rats and rats and mice.
Oh.
It's feeding on them, and that's really where a lot of these problems come from.
yeah, don't need those cinnamon rolls now at all. Thanks.
Or raisins, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely no raisins on there, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
And I guess that means no grapes too, because that's where raisins come from.
I don't know how to follow that. So
If it's,
this morning.
if it's with emergency management, don't worry about it.
Well, good morning. We are here looking for concurrence on the local emergency operations plan. Our staff, Baldwin Fisher, has been our lead in our planning process. We have been in contact with stakeholders of the plan following the Kansas planning standards set forth. And we have pre-approval from the Kansas Division of Emergency Management that our plan is following all of those standards and guidelines that need to be followed. So the way we gave you the base plan to look at, you'll notice that it doesn't have a lot of specifics in it because what we want to keep private, we keep private. You have access to it as you log into the software program. You can see some of those additional things, and that's really where we do most of our work. Is in we call them emergency support functions, the annexes to the base plan. So that is kind of where we are at this point. We're ready to move forward with getting this plan approved. So our process is to come to you for the concurrence, for the signing of the concurrence sheet. We then push that up to KDM. They do a second look, tell us it's approved, and then we'll come back to you for the promulgation of the plan, saying this is the latest, greatest, this is what we expect you to follow as county organizations. So do you have any questions about anything in the plan or how the process is going to work or what we've done? And I brought Baldwin so he could answer those questions.
Well, I think, what's usually a process on that, the return from KDM?
We have just an email that we'll get an approved email / letter from them that says we can move forward with the promulgation. So we'll bring that to you probably just in a business meeting just to sign that promulgation.
Okay.
Since we've done this time to talk about what's in the plan, and if you have any questions.
No, I was actually able to log in using my old password we set up in 19. That's why you didn't hear from me. So yeah, looked fine. I actually wrote it down. No, I'm fine with it. Okay.
It's like a lot of work.
There's a lot of work on our part, the stakeholders. We try to do a lot by email just because we know there's, we could tie people up for a long time in meetings talking about our emergency support functions. So we do a lot by email, but when we need that face-to-face, we certainly do make that happen.
Okay. I'll go ahead then and move to approve the Riley County Commission Chair signing the LEOP concurrent sheet.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Raleigh County Board of County Commission Chair to sign the LEOP concurrence sheet. All in favor?
Leo? I'm gonna go with Leo.
Leo,
Leo? Okay.
all right. Well, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Commissioner, you have Michael Buller at 9:15.
Yeah, sorry. That was really fast. Well, it may not be by the time I scroll through here to get you set up for the next.
Yeah.
presenter.
Thank you.
It might take 15 minutes.
Okay. I will take a read that. Do I need to write something below it?
If you keep going, it's gonna probably equal the same amount of pages of land development. At some point.
It's 90.
Yeah. About
We're
a
almost
quarter,
there.
about a third of the way there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, speaking of AI, seen a video how they're gonna replace parking valet now,
What?
valet.
How are they gonna do that?
They've got a platform machine that it pulls up and scans something and it comes right up to your car and comes underneath the tires and lifts up and takes it right to a spot and brings it right back to you. No people involved. It's already being tested out.
And then your car up and down the ramps.
You know, at one point in time, for years, I was concerned about all of this because I've been going on in manufacturing for years. My mother worked in manufacturing, people get replaced by machinery, but anymore with the lack of workers, it's about a necessity anymore.
Imagine the money rich people are gonna save on not having to tip.
I'm sure it'll be built into the process.
I ain't tipping no damn machine. Person, if they're decent enough, I will, but not a machine, no.
Well, the top's nice too, and that's okay.
Yeah.
When I was out in Vegas, I stayed away from those self-driving machines that I saw out there too. I'm not ready for all that.
I don't know. In some places that easier than some people. They got working.
I was thinking that was watching that stuff. You know, the personality of this machine is probably better than half the people working in valet.
So we like to take our own little rides too. Very bored,
Yeah. So are we officially done with budget hearings today? After today? Or is it? Look like so. Yeah, hang out with some doubt.
We found everything we find if we found and then working on revenues from the state.
Was coming a little early today, or is that gonna, or today, this month, or? Will that be exactly on the
We're
15th?
hoping for utilities actually, that's why I keep checking my phone, waiting to hear from the state, but. You know, we have rules and we have to follow, they have rules and sometimes they follow.
No, they don't. Stuff like that.
That'd be nice. That's why Lori was on me first thing this morning. Sure, check your email, sure, check your email. Yeah, we'll see it. Here from them.
Yeah.
You must get.
Oh, yeah. It's so
I mean, as many as I get,
I do.
I can't imagine.
If I'm gone for an hour, it's like piles up.
Yeah, you know.
Sometimes I get the lead happy too.
Yeah,
Well, that's what I'll.
I get a lot of
I'll
junk
get to
too.
reading
but-
through stuff and then I go, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. I'll delete it. And, oh, that was a name I maybe should have looked at.
Yeah.
Go back to my deletes.
It was actually pretty quiet for the last, other than just the events and meetings, but pretty quiet for the most part this last week.
And you were talking about the commissioner's list service, we were talking, Greg, and tell you our clerk's list service is active. We get a ton of clerks, which is good. It helps you think or be aware of what's coming up, whatever. It's good, it's valuable, you know, but man, there's a bunch of traffic on that too.
Got about 1 2/10 inches worth of rain last night.
I'm waiting for a report from my wife on checking the rain gauge. I was glad to hear it raining when I got up this morning. I was surprised. We had
What a hell of a lightning show yesterday morning. And I guess it really only rained on the east side of town, but boy, that sky was just,
Get this Evergy, we got in the mail last week, 3 letters actually from Evergy and 1 address, which just tells you why your rates are so high. But it says on this day, which was yesterday, your power will be out for scheduled maintenance at 8 PM for up to 9 hours.
huh,
Why would they schedule it in an evening for one, when everyone's at home? Because Darnell said, I'm not sure how big the area was, but University Park was impacted, and lots of families said they were doing a stay vacation, they were getting a hotel room in Manhattan, you know, the ones with kids because of the weather and. No AC, but it was out for 7 hours, it came on at 3 this morning.
Wow.
Why would they do it at that time? I do not know.
Nice.
Yeah, why, I mean, I can understand the time
The
and
day, when people are at work.
um, because that's when they're at work. I mean, work, yeah, I don't know.
That's their normal work hours too during the day.
Yeah, I don't know. I know there seems to be concern this year, and I've heard it that as it warms up, you know, the stress on the infrastructure, I guess. I'm wondering where those,
You know, that was my question on, you know, all this great electronic vehicles and these supercharging stations.
well.
So, if we can't handle what we already got, how are we gonna handle that?
I've asked that question too, and it's just crickets.
Uh-huh.
You don't get answers.
No,
Well, California's saying they're gonna require all electric vehicles, and they've had to shut down power already right now, because they can't, you know.
and the insurance companies are saying they're not going to well, they're really not gonna insure anything. They're starting to pull out altogether, but not gonna insure the electric cars and the electric vehicles. And if you, yeah,
Why is that?
because of the infrastructure there. It doesn't work, doesn't. The expense for them far outweighs being able to provide the coverage.
There's no doubt it's the future. I just think they're pushing it too fast. They gotta let the developers mature. And I love your question. You know, did the government subsidize gas? Did the government build gas stations? No.
Well, they
In fact, to be honest with you, I think this is one like all utilities, the government really needs to stay out of.
The state go out and build gas stations.
They do.
No, but now the state's going out and building electric plugging places, and they're not cheap.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking all along. I was glad you asked that question.
We were talking about it in the last NPO meeting, because that was the day before the city county meeting, so Jared gave us that presentation early. So what's gonna happen when you go to the bigger things? I mean, you're gonna trust an EV air,
They're talking about
I
it.
know they have a prototype,
They have it.
an airplane.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I don't want to be 30,000 feet midair and run out of electricity, sorry.
There's nothing more subsidized probably than wind turbines, solar, and electric vehicles. That's how it works right now. Even the study from K-State, the lady that was big on the wind turbines out at the shop even said that. No way it pays for itself. Good study, don't pay for itself.
We have 3 county properties that I don't think.
They don't, yeah, they're not working, they don't produce anything right now, but.
They look pretty.
No, they do not.
That was sarcastic.
Some of them are starting to have a safety.
They are.
The one we've got is so wore out next to the office, the brakes don't work. In 50-mile-an-hour wind, the blades. I'm getting a little concerned.
They're also having some of them that are blowing up.
If one of them comes on, it's in the woods. What we're talking about.
Well, I thought at one time, I worked with town, somebody that would take them down for
They
the
were
scrap,
working on it.
but that evidently didn't.
Or give, they'd take it for
They could-
free, they
yeah, they
wouldn't
could
pay us
have it.
anything
They
for it,
could
but
take
they
it
would
down.
come down and remove it. But yeah, that never panned it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the first in the state of Kansas, you know, were on I-70 out in my home county, Elford County, and I was furious for those things went up. It's such a pretty area with those hills right there along there, and they pollute it with those things. Maybe like Don Coyote, you go
Yeah.
take them out.
Like, can you imagine what would be?
I just find it funny, you got like 50 of those in like a, 70-acre range here, and there's just a little house in the middle of it. Somebody living there, just look out the window and it's talking about wind turbines.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Bowler with the Noxious Weed Department with our monthly staff update. This one will be pretty similar to ones maybe we've heard in the past, but I'll try to spice it up a little bit. Our spring spraying began in mid-April with bare applications on county roads, spraying around all signs, bridges, and guardrails. We've got that all completed. Solid spraying on county roads began last month, and section 2 from last year and 3 this year have been completed. We do 2 sections a month or a year. And so those are ones that we need to catch up on from the year prior. Spot spraying for musk thistle and field bindweed will begin this week and will continue throughout the month of June. Our township contracts and KDOT contract will begin this month and we continue during the month of June. Currently, we have 6 townships, and I thought the commissioners might be interested to know which one's contracting with us this year. That's Zedale, Mayday, Manhattan, Ogden, Grant, and Sherman. Manhattan, as I reported last month, is a new one that we've never had before. So they've come along and they joined up this year. Generally, we'll see townships kind of revolve about every couple of years. So we had 6 last year, and we've got 6 again this year, and that's a pretty average common amount.
What, you said they switch every couple of years? Or
Well, when I say switch, what I mean by that, Commissioner, is I think some of them, because of budget items, take a year off. It's nothing that, it's not necessarily a good idea when it comes to controlling
That's what I'm
weeds.
saying, but the ones that don't do it, that means they don't get them done, or some of them don't get them done in between
Yes.
doing it every other year or something.
Yes, and townships, of course, find it very beneficial to have a spray because what
Why did you get the equipment?
well, and it's effective on just roadside vegetation, although that's not our target. When we spray Tordon and 2,4-D, it really knocks down, well, a lot of your broadleaf, your sunflower, that sort of thing, which keeps the ditches a lot more cleaner and maybe cuts down on their need for mowing as much. So townships really like to take advantage of that. We have a solid spray. Spring seeding projects on county roads right away began in late March, and we've completed all of those. Weather has been very favorable. Most areas have a good grass growth, and rain has been light, but hasn't washed them out. So that's good. We've got that done. We've had, like I said earlier, we've had a very mild spring with just the right amount of rain for grass growth. So it's coming along nicely. County roadside mowing began in May. We just got that done. We do 3 cycles a year, and our first round is about 10% complete, but growing daily. You'll see a lot of movement in that area here in the next 2 or 3 weeks, as I'll have guys getting off spraying and start mowing. So have fielded at least one call that said, "Oh, no, the roadside's getting a little grassy," and they are. Like I said, we just had favorable conditions, but you're going to see a lot of movement in that area in the next couple of weeks. We'll get those cleaned up. Musk thistle and noxious weed in Kansas is in the stage of growth where it needs to be sprayed in order to get optimal control. A lot of times I'll get calls on musk thistles once they bolt. They have the big, pretty purple flower up top, but then your time is really limited to control that plant before it goes to seed. So that's something we need to focus on now. And I'm encouraging property owners to, if they've got musk thistle, to utilize our services. We've got spray rentals and also chemical to treat that weed. On the HHW side, we are doing a Howie's clean out coming up Saturday, June 10th from 8 to noon. No business waste or truckloads of material will be accepted at this event. The Iowa County HHW facility recycle room is now back open. I'm very pleased that we've got that concrete out front repaired. And that was something that was really needed, really just to clean it up and make it a lot more functional, a lot more professional looking. And I'd like to thank Public Works, Alvin Perez and his crew. They just do a fantastic job. I mean, if you're going to go out and lay concrete, it's a hard day's work. I can really appreciate what those guys do, and I'm very pleased with the results out there. So if you opportunity. We've got our new building up, we've got new concrete, we're getting new blacktop. So really just kind of sprucing the place up a little bit. So I'm pretty excited. Other than that, I did want to mention, I kind of had hoped to put a couple of photographs in here. Poison hemlock is in bloom right now. Poison hemlock is not a noxious weed in Kansas, but that does not mean that it's not acutely toxic. It's in the name, poison hemlock. I believe Aristotle or somebody is famously was poisoned with poison hemlock, of which there is no antidote if you were to eat it. The plant itself has can grow about 6 foot tall, has a really nice white flower canopy on it. And the leaves look very similar to a carrot. It's actually related to the carrot family. And for that reason, some people think that the plant is very aesthetically pleasing. And I noticed that right at the entryway of Edinburgh Park, they've allowed this plant to grow. And I don't know if they understand it's poison hemlock, but it can be fatal to humans if ingested. Some folks do have a reaction to it. And last year, there was a pretty famous thing going around on Facebook where a young lady had taken a big smell of the poison hemlock and had to be hospitalized for a couple of days because of that exposure. So it is a plant it's widely spread across Kansas. It's nothing that's recently coming new and is invasive or anything like that. But I just thought I would mention that it is in bloom right now. You'll see it along ditches. If you take a drive just, between here and Keats, you'll see it on the roadside. So once you see the plant, you'll understand, oh yeah, I've seen that quite a bit. So just want to make folks aware of it. And if people have questions on how to control it, I'm happy to answer those questions. And I do get quite a bit of questions on poison hemlock. So just wanted to take an educational moment this morning. But the commissioners know it is in full bloom.
Well, if you get around it, will it cause skin eruptions and that?
Well, that's kind of a mixed bag. I think it depends on the person. It's not so much dermal like poison ivy is, but it is toxic to livestock and humans. And goats and cows will just instinctively generally not eat it. But if they're hungry enough, a cow will eat bark off a tree. So it's one of those things that folks like to try to control in their pastures because it is acutely toxic to livestock. It could cause birth defects and the loss of a calf. So just want to mention that plant and get it out there. And I do have a lot of people call and I do have some information. I'm happy to come out, identify and talk with the landowners on how they can possibly control it. But it is, again, it's not a noxious weed. It's not something that's mandated to control, but it's pretty good idea. Thank you. And with that, Commissioner,
Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
thank you.
Next, commissioners, you have in person at 9:30. Okay, coming in file first is city commission. Chad Knighton. I think it's first is Chad Knighton. He's younger.
Do we have?
They had a stack of these companies. I think there's nothing. There's quite a few today. You find that. I see a lot of people.
Well, when we get within one of that, staff knows to lock the door and shut off the light.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They've already been instructed.
So you're just about there in school board, aren't you? Oh. Oh, it's 3 times,
I
yeah.
knew that.
3 times plus 1.
I knew that.
Yeah. There was no one.
Well, there are a lot of new names this year.
One older than Karen,
Yeah, I saw that.
I was amazed at that.
That you covered what they told me she was going to.
Yeah, I knew she was too. That meeting I was at. Talked about it. I guess John was gonna go.
It's not doing good, she tells me.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Okay.
Morning Commissioners, Ann Person, Bradley County Appraiser. I'm gonna start with just our personal property like we usually do. There's quite a bit that's been going on in this last month. Currently, they're scanning and working through quality control of our notice of values. I have a note here on manufactured homes and contact, just a couple different things just for you to be aware of. Valuation notices went out on time. Everything was done statutorily like it needed to be. It was discovered there was an issue in calculation within Comtech due to a change. And about 500 manufactured homes, 30 years and older, were valued higher than where they should have been. That correction has been made. Everything certified reflects the corrections. Worked with our property valuation division, and they advised that because the values are lower than what they were noticed at, we would not need to renotice at this time. And so, I mean, on the positive side, I'm thankful that the values are lower than where they were noticed. It was a process trying to get that corrected. One of the things we are working towards this summer is getting all of the manufactured homes out of Comtech. They will be valued in Orion moving forward. Per PVD guidelines, they should have been that way a few years ago. And we're gonna work to get that done this year, this summer. So just to keep you informed, I highly doubt you'll get calls on lower bills. But in case there's any questions from anybody that reaches out to you, please just have them contact our office. The 2023 personal property valuation was certified to the clerk. The total personal property valuation for 2023 was reported as $55,155,239, which is 16% above the 2022 personal property value at $47,464,175. This is largely just due to the increased costs. We use Price Digest. Watercraft and 1620 trucks are up, especially for those that are 10 to 20 years old. And so that's where a big portion of that increase is coming from. The small claims appeal that we had for the 72 manufactured homes was completed, and we're just waiting for the Board of Tax Appeals decision on those. Interviews are currently underway for our open personal property positions, and we're hoping to have those filled in the near future. On the agricultural side of things, we're working through sales validation and preparing for the ag use review. On residential, sales validation started back up after we finalized all of our informal appeals. We have a total of 8 second half 2022 payment under protests currently, of which you've just signed tax rule corrections on most of those. And again, just kind of to reiterate on the pups, it's if we're not aware of a problem or a conditional issue with a home based on just an exterior, we find out, we go out, we inspect and verify, okay, well, yeah, this is something we are not aware of. And then we have to recognize what those issues may have been that we were not aware of. So that's a lot of times why you'll see those reductions. Let's see here. So the small claims have started coming in for 2023. We currently have 2 residential small claims relating to the 2023 valuations that are docketed and scheduled. Residential dwellings require filing to the small claims division with BOCC first. All other property types can choose small claims or the regular division of BOCC, except for your commercial and industrial property that is 3 million or more. They're required to file straight to the regular division of the Board of Tax Appeals. We have 9 parcels with 1 owner, including vacant lots and a residential parcel without a dwelling, that are going to the full board, and those are not yet docketed or scheduled at this time. The digital review of the property for 2023 has been completed by staff, and they're working through the physical inspections. Green cards will be sent out to all property owners that are due for that annual reinspection this year that are not going to have a physical walk around inspection. I will set up a press release prior to mailing those to let property owners know what to expect. There have been 325 sales recorded, of which 285 are residential properties. The median sale price is up currently at 225,000. Last month it was 215. The average sale price is currently at 243,835, and last month was 241,637. Currently, our sales ratio is sitting at 98%. On the commercial side of things, I've attached that commercial BOCC list with several new BOCC cases relating to the 2023 valuation. Our analyst is currently working to prepare the cases for the Board of Tax Appeals. One thing just to note is, as you can see several continued, several to be announced. Things that were scheduled are going to be rescheduled. Based on requests from opposing counsel. A lot of times, in some cases, if our expert witness may not be available, then we would request it, but these came through before we even were able to make any requests. So it's hard to know when a lot of these are going to be scheduled, but we're keeping this list updated as we get notified.
Anna,
Yes, ma'am.
I noticed that on this report, you don't have the names of the businesses, you just have the attorneys.
Oh, the applicant, I
Yeah,
apologize,
yeah.
yeah.
I-
Usually I do put the business name and not the
Yeah.
applicant name, so I just, in this particular instance,
didn't do-
the wrong column was hidden.
Okay.
I was trying to work remote, this past weekend to get this loaded and was unable to connect, and then when I
Okay.
came in Sunday afternoon, the alarm on my power box was going off, and so I was putting this and loading this with a high pitched squealing
sound.
in the office, so I will apologize now for that oversight, yes.
And plus there isn't a total value. Usually we get a total amount that, you know, like how many millions of dollars is,
Oh, at the bottom?
yeah, at the bottom.
Okay, I will make sure to expand that down further for you,
Okay,
on that next
Great.
report. Like I said, typically, the reason this has happened is because I've tried to consolidate it, so it's more printer friendly, and in doing so, I just didn't extend it far enough for you. If you'd like, I can send you the corrected in an email. To
Okay,
all of
whatever
you,
you
if that
get,
would work
yeah,
for you,
I
yeah,
just-
I will send that email as soon as we are done. So he's working, again, our analyst is working on preparing all of this information for the Board of Tax Appeals. Steve's also taken the lead this month, working with GIS and emergency management to ensure we're prepared for our next weather event. There's been a lot of collaboration. I attended a conference last month with Lori, the KDEM in Topeka, to just try to make sure that we're prepared for that the next time we have to respond in a weather event. And so there's been a lot of collaboration between GIS, IT, my department, and emergency management, just to make sure, you know, we have the tools we need, making some changes, ensuring that our GIS department put together an app that's going to be real user friendly. And so we're actually going to have a test run of that this month. We're going to just do a test scenario and make sure everything works like we would like it to. Just making sure everything's in place, so that we can assist in that. And like I said, Steve's definitely taken the lead on trying to make sure we have something in writing to prepare as we move forward. Additional information on real property values, we certified to the clerk also on May 22nd. The 2022 appraised value was $8,830,490,520. That gives you an assessed value of $686,972,597. The 2023 total appraised value is $669,523,500, and the assessed value is $765,688,970. Just a couple things to be aware of: $7,412,134 of that assessed value increase was attributable to new construction. $93,687 of the assessed increase was attributable to remodels and renovations. The appraised difference was $839,032,980, with an assessed value difference of $78,716,373. So the appraised value percent change 2023 over 2022 is 9.5%. One thing that I think is extremely important to know is we have outstanding exemptions. We have reached out to different entities to let them know, if you are applying for exemption, you need to get that to us as soon as possible. We've been reaching out on numerous occasions, requesting them to fill out those exemption applications. We have some that we have received, but there's a large portion that we haven't. And so when you have $52,556,540 of appraised value that potentially could be exempt, That leads to $10,106,102 of assessed value that likely will not be there if those exemptions get granted. And just as a ballpark, I looked at what's the Manhattan mill levy for 2022? What kind of tax dollars are we going to potentially not have that we think we have? It's over $1.5 million. And so I have emphasized and emphasized with entities, when ownership changes, if any entity that's exempt sells it to another entity that's exempt, that exemption doesn't carry. You have to reapply for your exemption. I've also emphasized if any use of a property that is exempt changes, you have to reapply for your exemption. By statute, we have to err in favor of taxation, and then they have to go through the process of applying for exemption. I understand that a lot of these businesses that have acquired the property are exempt entities, but I cannot exempt it without a Board of Tax Appeal order to the entity that's requesting the exemption. And so I felt like with budgets coming up, this is extremely important for everyone just to know that this is out there, we're waiting. And it does have an impact in the end on the tax dollar side of things. One other thing, next week, June 5th through the 7th, KCA conference for the appraisers is here in Manhattan. Alan, Joetta, and I will be attending the full conference, and then most of our residential and commercial staff will be attending education sessions on Tuesday and Wednesday. The office is open. Just know that if you're looking for a residential or commercial appraiser, you may have to leave a message, and we would be getting back to them as soon as available. We are excited to watch the RMA designation presentation this year, as Joetta Glessner, a residential appraiser, will be awarded her RMA certificate on Wednesday morning at the conference. And so we are really excited for that. Any questions? Again, my sincere apologies on that voter report. I will get you guys email the one that shows the ownership and the totals.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any other questions?
Any questions?
All right.
Anna.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Next question, we have Jim Gannon. It was from ATC funding request 9:45. Double the dues. And good.
Oh, yeah, that's here.
Morning.
Morning, gentlemen, how are you? Good.
Right, going last night.
I did.
Yeah.
Got an inch and 2/10.
Oh, wow.
I had some grass seed earlier in the week. I was having water that.
That's good. Give it tonight and tomorrow too.
Exactly. I was talking about seeing some grass pop up.
Hey, how you doing? Okay, how about you? All right. That's good.
It's on here, just as you go down in your whole presentation on there.
Sounds good. Hey, Greg.
Morning.
How are you?
Good.
Great to see you.
Good to see you.
You good, all right?
Yep.
Good, you're good.
Didn't know if you heard me tell Harry, but the whole presentation's on there. Just scroll down and
Will do.
you like.
You want these lights on while I'm here?
It's the closest to me. Yeah. There you go. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Thank you for allowing Harry and I to be here to visit with you about this request and this project. I will assume you've read some of the stuff we submitted. I don't have to put you to sleep with it. We've talked before a little bit about this facility and what it means to not just the college, but the community. This is the first new building at MATC in forever, not counting the modular units. And it's called the Advanced Technology Center. Initially, it got a lot of attention because our work on it came in the same time that Scorpius was announced. But actually, as you look more and more into this, and the more the city and the chamber look into this, the big part of this facility and what we do connects to construction, whether it's housing or residential. Right now, I'm limited to about 24 students in construction trade because of space. This facility doubles that. HVAC, right now I'm limited to 18. This doubles that. It'll put in a new program, plumbing technology. At our Wamego Center, we're adding electrician training. Again, those things, when you look at anything related to construction, are very essential skills that we need in the area. I think the program that's going to blow everybody out of the water is one we just started this past year, industrial engineering technology. That program teaches fundamentals of electricity, pneumatics, robotics, hydraulics, robotics, and a few other things I probably can't pronounce. But the three of the students in that program were offered internships right away by Manco. I call it the 21st century version of the erector set that we grew up with, playing with metal parts, but this is all digital, electronic, but it still teaches the same things. This facility also will house critical environment technology. We're the only higher ed institution in the country with that program. It was designed for NBAF and biotech in particular. We worked with the engineers at BRI as we designed it. It teaches people how to work with control systems and how to do facility maintenance, upgrades, renovations in a high containment environment. And again, it stresses how to use control systems, wastewater management, cooling, security, lighting. So a lot of these programs aren't what you would call a traditional, what you might think of as a BOCC. These are high-skilled, high-tech programs. It's the new collar occupations that drive the future economy. We will have space in the building for biomanufacturing, which we're designing with Scorpius and with K-State. And then it also will be the home for our electric power and distribution program. There's only 2 colleges in the state that have that program. It teaches people to be electric linemen. We're one of those. We were asked by the city to come up with an economic impact analysis. We use the same company the K-State Foundation uses, things they present to the city and probably to you. So you see that report up there. And he admits in the report it's pretty conservative. I gave him some basic information like I provided for you with the different things. And it goes, there's a lot of discussion about, the impact on spending, the rollover spending, additional staff, and you go farther and farther through this thing. Eventually, that make you all dizzy.
We're used to it.
But it gets down into the breakdown of both city revenues and county revenues. Years 1 through 5, 6 through 10, and overall. Right now, our economic impact in the area with our existing space and programs and enrollment produces about $20 million a year in impact. That's on a $7 million budget. This will start to generate more economic impact that we estimate by about 2028 when we're fully up and running, should increase that economic impact on an annual basis to close to 35 to 40 million per year. We will have new faculty and staff. You have more of the spending with contractors in the area, keeping that local. But the key thing to me is right above where it says total county revenue, sales tax from new graduate spending. The one statistic I throw out that gets almost everybody's eyes to bug out, 86% of our students stay in this region. And primarily they're staying in Riley, Geary, Potawatomi counties. They're consumers, they're employees, and they're taxpayers. And none of his analysis takes into account property tax. We've done rough surveys with our students and staff over the last couple of years, they're very crude surveys. But about 25 to 30% of our folks indicate, and our students indicate, that they would like to buy a house within 2 to 3 years after they either graduate from us or after they come and start working with us. I can't say that's true, that's what they tell us. So again, none of this takes into account the potential property tax information. So it has all sorts of breakdowns on this. And I think it shows a pretty good return to the city and the county in terms of revenue in a variety of ways. One more incredible one. Look at it on this thing instead of trying to look up there. Oops. Yeah, the new graduates. Where is it? Yeah. If you look at annual personal income here, going across on that, look at that total. Over the 10 years, it will generate 73 million more dollars in personal income between the employees we have and the additional students we have. As we've worked on this, I've talked with the city, the school district, and now you. The city is considering our request for $1 million over 5 years, 200,000 per year. And they see it both as economic development, and as I mentioned, it also addresses housing, because our construction trade students and the students in HVAC and the other programs work immediately with the contractors. The school district has agreed, because the land was the school district's land, is a quit claim deed to us. So there's a revertment clause that if we would fail or move, they get the land back. Well, when we do a building project like this, that comes into play. They've agreed to take on the potential liability of this $16 million project. We have agreed to pay an escrow amount of $500,000 that the bank will hold for the school district in case we go under. The school district indicated they will apply that as the last $500,000 on the payment when we get to that point. So their skin in the game is giving up that $500,000 plus taking on the liability. I would ask your consideration of $50,000 a year over 5 years, $250,000. Because together, this college affects this whole area in keeping people here and keeping businesses going and driving the economy. I'm finishing my 8th year here. 8 years ago, we had 12 high school students enrolled in early college classes. This semester, that was over 500, and they want more. The high school wants this facility up so they can send more students to us to get into HVAC, more into construction, biomanufacturing, etc. So this is truly an investment that pays off multiple times over for a long time. We are not allowed to have taxing authorities in technical colleges, unlike community colleges or school districts. The 2 community colleges closest to us, Highland, they get about $2 million a year in local taxing authority. Cloud County gets about 3.7 million. 2 tech colleges do get local appropriations. It's not through taxing authority of the school, but it's provided by either city or the county. Sedgwick County supports Wichita Tech, $800,000 per year in support of their manufacturing and aerospace programs, which drive that economy. Emporia and Lyon County provide $172,000 a year to Flint Hills Technical College, again in support of economic development. So I'd be glad to answer any questions. I thank you for considering this request. I think it will help if we can have skin in the game from all of the governmental entities for our college. You've all been on campus, you know what we do, and we keep growing. I'd be glad to answer any questions or listen to any comments.
Anybody's tried to hire a plumber recently? Who knows?
Yeah.
We struggle with welders too.
Yeah, and with this new building, our existing welding will double in space because we'll move HVAC up and welding will take over.
How do you work with USD 378, USD 384 for their students?
We're doing more and more with them as their schedules permit with the students. In some cases, we are at those schools. I need Chris Boxberg here to give you the details. This past school year with both of those, we started a pilot project because I got dared by the state regents to try something. And we actually provided college algebra to qualified students at those schools at no cost. As you know, for a lot of students, when they think about going on to college algebra is the one they go, oh crap.
That's what I did.
Yeah, I'm modifying my language for the audience.
So will I.
And last summer at the state regents retreat, without going a lot of detail, an entity of higher ed wanted another $14 million to try to pilot some of this to the students. And I said, I'll do it for nothing, because there is formula funding for the two-year colleges for gen ed. And I think it's important to get as many of those high school kids successfully through college algebra. It doesn't guarantee they go on to post-secondary ed, but it's a big relief. And so we started small because I wanted to make sure we could afford it. We can still cover our costs with state funding. This year, I intend to expand that. I got the grade reports actually yesterday from the two schools, and every student passed. Now, it was only 24 students, still significant. The really cool thing is both those school districts agreed to adopt our curriculum and our approach to using that class. And what we do with both college algebra, English comp, even biology and chemistry, the students have mandatory study labs unless they're getting at least a B in the class. Because our purpose is not to torture them, but to help them learn. And so the students in those high schools had mandatory labs unless they were getting at least a B in the class. Though they found out, like our college students do, that all of a sudden learning becomes fun because they're getting helped by their peers and by the teacher to understand those funky equations that you and I didn't get.
I think I used college algebra for the first time just last week, as a matter of fact.
There you go.
So.
So we intend to keep
And it did,
expanding that.
boom. I'm like, oh, I did learn that stuff. Wow.
We've been working on welding with one of those two districts. Right now I'm forgetting which one because I'm not into that part of it. But at their request, we've been adding welding. We continue to keep adding on that. Work with them on their schedules with this facility. I've talked with Eric Reed here about how we might designate morning or afternoon sections for high school students so they have time to bust them here and bust them back. Because the cool thing when we start doing that, they make connections with the employers, they're more likely to stick around. They get that job offer, they get that internship. And that's one of the keys why we have such a high number staying in the area.
Yeah, Chris Adams, who's on your board, in plumbing HVAC, and he uses your guys and tries to steal the best of the class all the time.
I have 5 to 6 businesses a week wanting to meet with us because they're all needing the same thing. And that's why we're working as fast as we can, but I need resources.
Yeah, I have a question. As I read this, it looks like positions, you're going to be recruiting like 4 new faculty people.
Or,
Yeah, that's,
yeah, we'll have, yeah.
How difficult is that and how do you project that's gonna play
It's
out?
become a little more difficult than in the past, however. One of the cool things with tech ed and higher ed in both this state and in the nation, when it comes to accreditation, we are given very wide latitude. So for those programs, we have to have proof that the teacher either has work experience, a license or credential, or a degree. It doesn't have to be a degree. So in the case of plumbing, we'll probably be looking for someone who is a plumber or retired plumber to help come in and start teaching that. Oftentimes in like in HVAC, construction trades, and in critical environment, industrial engineering right now, we have retired construction or HVAC or energy people teaching those classes. They don't want to climb around on ladders anymore. They don't want to go in duct work, etc. They come and teach with us.
They want good retirement plans at that point in time.
With biomanufacturing, Scorpius is helping us find the right faculty.
Yeah, I think that would be difficult sometimes.
It is, but we're also working with them at K-State. We're co-developing the curriculum because we'll go so far and then K-State can pick up if the student wants more. But we are in working with Scorpius, we take them to a level that makes them valuable to that company to start. But we're doing all that in collaboration. In fact, with this building, K-State may have to start using our building to start training for those classes while they're getting their space all through all the approval processes and renovated. We can work a little faster. Right now, this building is, the construction is scheduled to be done March of next year.
I know firsthand how that works on the construction side, because I too am a graduate. Probably takes the college algebra equation to go back how long that is now, but yeah, yeah, I know how that lays out.
Other question? Any from the audience, any question? Thank you.
Well, thank you. Don't hesitate to reach out if you do have questions.
I'm Commissioners for Amanda Webb. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, gentlemen.
See you.
Take care. See you guys.
Excuse me.
Did we get the lights?
Wait,
Hey, it's about 20 degrees warmer in here than it is in my office.
that's strange.
I know.
Oh.
I'm doing it.
Sure.
No, I'm serious. Fine, fine. Yeah, my office is fine.
Sure.
I don't have a fan either, so.
I do. It's on.
You guys ready for Amanda?
Yes.
Good morning, Commissioners. Amanda Webb, Planning Director here with Planning and Development's monthly update. So I have a little bit to get through. I'll just run through everything, and as usual, just please ask any questions along the way. Start with Keat Sewer Benefit District. We got another batch of letters sent out to some adjacent property owners. I'm just talking again about the lagoon and getting permission to come on site to evaluate property. So we're waiting for responses to that. So still working through there. Still working on the pre-application materials with Widow O'Brien's for the KDHE Small Town Water and Wastewater Infrastructure Grant. So we're excited to be getting that put together and apply for that. And then just been keeping the residents updated. Sent another monthly update, I believe it was last week, somewhere in there. You know, again, not a ton to share with them, but just really like to make that connection and, you know, hey, still here, still working on you. Let me know if you have questions. So, and I have actually gotten a couple folks who have called or who have requested to be added to that list. So, so it's helpful to folks, which I'm glad for. So, do you want to add anything?
Oh, I already talked about it a little bit. I know it's, people are very open to, they really like the idea that we're sending out information. So, so we'll keep that.
So, short-term rentals, as you folks know, the grace period that you granted last May has now expired already. And we only have one left from our original list that now that we're of course over that May 5th date, it is officially a violation to not have your short-term rental license. So we have begun the enforcement process. We've had the letters sent out and everything. We have it with that one person. And again, we're still getting applications from other people issuing licenses. So seems like it's going okay. If we find ones, we've been in contact and people have been, exception of the one, people have been working with us really well. So we're
That one that we heard about before.
yes, it's
I've
you all
assumed
are aware of
that.
it. Yes. Yeah, so still, unfortunately, still working on it. So we'll see how that goes. But of course, I'll keep you folks updated. Solid Waste Management Committee, of course, we did our required 2023 annual review of our plan that you folks approved recently, and we did get that approved by the state. So we are done with our annual review for this year. But we will, of course, be kicking off our 5-year update that is due next May, May 2024. So we'll be getting that started with additional meetings later in the year to get our committee members kind of going with reviewing sections and whatnot. So we are always looking for additional committee members. We have 17 right now, which is a good amount. We don't always have everybody show up at the meetings, you know, completely understandable, but we do have a good amount of people. We're allowed to have 30, up to 30 as per the state statute. So Again, always looking for more folks. We have recently lost our representative from a third-class city. So that's one especially that we are looking for. We have folks at least in every other category, whether it be one or, a handful, but that is one that we don't have right now. So if you know of anybody, please, who is interested in being on this committee, please send them my way. So. Comprehensive plan update. I won't go into too much detail because of course we have our monthly updates that I provide, but still been working on reaching out to various folks and agencies to be on our comprehensive plan committee. I believe as when I was writing this, I had 23, I think now I have 24 on the committee. So I'm really, really excited that I have gotten a lot of response, a lot of interest in it, and some wide variety of people and from different backgrounds and different agencies and whatnot. So I'm really happy for that. Of course, always looking for more, because really the more the better, and we have a really good way, strategy that we're looking into about, getting people kind of put into subcommittees and groups, so we're not, 30 people all in a room together, but we can still have a good amount of people on the committee and participating in this. So, and I think we talked about it recently, but I am looking to get this started, the group started for their initial meeting in early July at this point. The other thing we've already talked about, I did not receive any responses for their RFQ for the consultant assistance. But I'm happy to report that tomorrow I will be meeting with a professor from K-State in the landscape architecture and community and regional planning department. So I've let a couple folks there know about what's going on and what I'm looking for. So we'll talk to him tomorrow, and hopefully they'll be able to provide assistance in some manner. Again, I'm hoping at this point to at least get some facilitation, help with facilitating, public input, outreach, the committee group, things like that, just to kind of have that, go between county and public and stakeholders and whatnot. So I'll keep you updated on that. Hopefully I'll have some good information to share on that with my next update. So, so Vivian and I have been working, of course, on the survey, as you guys know. I'm working on getting it built in SurveyMonkey. That's been interesting. I've never done that before. So working through that. And then she's prepared to, put the QR code together. We talked about the postcards. We talked about how we're going to get it out there, and things are ready, if you will. I just need to finish building the survey, and then it'll be able to be ready to go out. So really happy that that's going to be going out here pretty soon. So I'm excited to hear what the public has to say, basically. So about all kinds of variety of things. So next monthly update is scheduled for June 26th, but I'm actually going to be out of the office. So I have rescheduled it, worked with Cindy to reschedule for June 22nd. So you'll still have a monthly update, but it'll just be a few days earlier this month. And then keeping on the comprehensive plan item. So we're going to do our annual review. Of course, we're required to review our comp plan annually. So we'll of course be bringing that before our planning board. It's probably going to wind up being in July, and then of course we'll come before you folks for final review. So we still, even though we're working on our big update, we still have to make sure we do our annual review. A few other planning related topics. So Stephanie Peterson, Director, Community Development Director at City Manhattan, she'll be here on Monday, June 5th. I believe her time's the 10:15. To talk about the Rural Housing Incentive District Program, RHID. So we have some time set aside. She has provided me a PowerPoint, and she'll be here to talk a little bit more about that, answer the questions you guys might have. Just wanted to give you an early update. We are working on some potential code amendment language to our land development regulations. As you folks are probably aware, regulations and code documents are never done. They're living. They always, we have to update. We use them and realize that's not quite working the way we intended, or we're missing something, and so we have a list here that we've been kind of compiling basically since the LDR was adopted in 2022. So I don't necessarily need to go through all of them right now unless you have any specific questions, but these are what we brought before the planning board at their May meeting. They did agree that we should review all of them. That doesn't mean anything's gonna wind up being changed or anything. Will change too much, but they did agree that all of what we had on our list, they want to talk about more, so. So I'm gonna take there's a lot, so I'm gonna take, 1 or 2 items, each meeting to them to have further discussion and kind of see what they want to do with it, and then of course, bring it to you folks for your input review as well. Okay, our environmental health transition, we have made a contingent offer to a candidate for the technician position, so we're really excited about that. Of course, awaiting background results and all of that, before we can make a firm offer and finalize details, so hopefully I'll have, good information or good news to share, in the coming weeks with you all. Next week, I'm headed to Colorado to take my soils workshop, so that should be interesting. And I have been going out with Deanne as I can to go on soil profiles as well. So and her helping us out has been going really well, working really well. She's been great to work with. So that's been working out okay. And I think those are everything I wanted to make sure to touch on. Are there any questions, comments? Thank you so much. Thank you.
Fancy you to do the agreement first and then exec, or you're just gonna do exec the whole time?
Probably just do the executive session first, and use 15 minutes and leave 5.
Oh, 15, okay, you're doing it the whole time?
Then I think we can do 15 and then use the final 5.
Okay. Sounds good.
And I was just gonna know. Don't know if you looked at the last meeting or not, but I had it down without a piece of paper.
Really?
Good,
That is impressive.
I know.
Good for you.
No, this, I like this. No,
Yeah.
I know, she did good.
But yeah, we haven't given them any appropriation money or anything, Yeah. Yeah, no, we have never done anything like that. I could assess that. What do you mean?
A lot of non-profits don't ever really sit down and like it. I have found that with a lot of, just don't know where to go.
Well, that's because it's hard for them to hire the right professional to be able to provide that direction for them.
Right.
And they're on just string budgets to begin with, and one small little shift with how they provide programming and services could just flip them upside down.
Yeah,
And you're seeing that with a handful of them right now.
everything,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
and their support staff.
I would think that'd be top priority. All the time.
You've got to pay those people
Well,
for that experience and for that knowledge.
Even those willing to pay nowadays are having a hard time finding them.
Yes,
And no matter what position.
I'm hearing that from every agency I meet with. That's a common denominator. We were heading that way. But I think it would have been, it would have been incremental if pandemic hadn't happened.
Agreed.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Still kind of
Yeah.
slower.
Yeah.
I think
You would have been able to
Yeah.
adjust. Yeah, I just flipped the light switch completely on instead of it being incremental.
Sorry.
It
is a while. And it's not gonna be that.
Yeah,
A little bit at a time.
here it's like, boom, it's just there. Okay,
Well,
are we're gonna do everything else at the back? Okay.
Right.
So I'll go ahead then and move that the county commission, including Chairwoman Foki, Vice Chairman Ford, and Commissioner McKinley recess into executive session on potential litigation for the purpose of consultation with Clancy Holman, County Counselor, Attorney for the Commission. We should be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship and an exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act. The open meeting to resume in the County Commission chamber at 10:30 a.m. County Appraiser Anna Burson and Steve Shirley, Commercial Analyst, will be present during a portion of this session to provide factual information.
I'll second.
It's been moved in session, and it's been moved and seconded to go into executive session. Until 10:30. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Need you to step back.
potential good appointees 2 years ago, and they both got blocked. For that reason.
And reason, did she send, she, yeah, she
Yes,
sent.
yeah.
This conversation with Kenny Titus about
Mhm.
representatives in the Senate.
Yeah. Yeah, he would tell you the same thing he told me. It's a mess over there in that chamber. Okay, need to go ahead and move that the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
A second,
So moved and seconded, the board will have the executive session, all in favor? Aye.
Also move that the record reflect no binding action was taken during the executive session.
I'll second.
So moved and seconded that no binding action was taken during the executive session, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate that. The other item I have on during the administrative time is the final of the small city reimbursement agreements that come in for signature. As the card indicates, this one is for the city of Ogden. It's being presented for your review and approval, and it reads exactly the same as all the other three. Every city is getting the same benefit. Every small city that just signed off, all four of them, will get the benefit of this reimbursement for that. Some portion of the loss that this board recognized some time ago. They would get to their small city budgets as a result of the sunset of the prior half-cent road and bridge sales tax, which ended, as you know, at the end of 2022. The amounts that they receive are not only going to vary for each city as they're paid during the term of the agreement, but they're also going to vary between the cities themselves. They don't get the same amount because those distributions are inherently going to be based on combination. There's a statutory formula that involves population and assessed value. So their differences in that will cause the amounts distributed to each city to fluctuate over time. And the fluctuation will come in as a result of those sales that come in during that same quarter. Because the Budget and Planning Committee, when it reviewed the drafts of this and had pretty robust discussions about it that were very good, because we tried to find a method that would be fair to both the small cities and to the county. And I'm personally convinced this is a good, fair agreement. Certainly suggested that was suggested by the fact all four of the three. And so the first distribution will be made, I believe, in July. Don't hold me to that. It's set out on the exhibit A to each agreement. So now I want to check and see how good my memory is. Because we needed to have time. We knew we would need it, the treasurer's office would need time during each distribution to make that distribution.
June 30th.
June 30th, is that it? Thank you. Yeah, that's the schedule that's gonna apply for payments to every small city. It reads the same for each agreement. Glad to answer any questions you got. That's all I have.
What was the hang up in Ogden?
Oh, it's just a matter of them getting around to
Oh,
reviewing it. When it's not there, there wasn't anything. There wasn't any kind of a merits dispute.
Okay,
Just take it down to it.
yeah,
Well, they hadn't gotten to it and they got it. They didn't exactly get it at the first of the year.
true.
Right.
I don't have anything else on this.
So I'm gonna ask for a motion to sign the agreement.
Yeah, go ahead and make a motion that we sign the small city sales tax reimbursement agreement with the city of Ogden.
I'll second.
So moved and seconded to sign the agreement with Ogden in its current form, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Clancy. It's next commission, you have Carson over at 10:35. Few seconds, Carson. What time to get up there? It might be about time.
Walk slowly.
Walk slowly, there you go. Your information is down below there, Carson. If you want to scroll down and look at it.
Thank you. Okay.
Right, so thank you for having me today. I'm hoping you had a chance to read this, but if you don't, I'll give you a really quick version. As you know, we've moved to our new location over at 323 Points. Many of you came to our open house and saw what we've actually been able to accomplish, so thank you. I believe this is the appropriate time for me to come and ask for a little bit of assistance. So hopefully, I'm doing this correctly this year. We have found since moving, a little bit of funding that we would really be gracious to accept help with in regard to some of the things that we used to have with the county that were paid for as part of the deal that who knows who created many 20 some odd moons ago. So our budget typically is around 700,000. We are asking for 17,452 to offset basically the CASA portion of the rent, the IT services, the internet, the copy machine, and the general office supplies. There are other facility costs that we have, but we have found other ways to pay for those. And I'm not asking for funding for the other two agencies because they were not in the 4th Street location, although they did receive some of the benefits of that as far as software and that kind of thing on our office computers. So this is something that would be a sustainable. I'm not coming back next year asking for a whole lot more than this. If it's possible for you to help us cover the cost that we did not have grant funding for, this is at 2%, 2.3% of our budget, and would help us tremendously. Questions?
Any questions?
No.
So these costs, this is just costs portion of this.
Correct.
To the other agencies.
Yep. These are basically CASA's, since CASA was in the 4th floor, these are the things that we lost moving out. And so I took everything and separated it out by agency.
Yeah, good.
No further questions.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Darcy.
Yeah.
Next question, you have John Oliver, 10:45.
So I didn't realize just how bad the Cardinals really are this year.
I
mean, oh
almost
my-
called him that morning. When I heard it.
Me too. How in the world do you let the Royals in this perfect game you?
That was my first thought was you when I heard.
Yeah, but I am not surprised. They do. It never fails when they play each other. No matter how good or how bad either team is. Especially when I go to the game. Well,
Were you there at that game?
no, I'm glad I was.
I'm just assuming that both teams are historically bad this year.
Yes. That's fair to say, at least a couple of mine are pretty much the worst I've seen in a long,
Mhm.
if ever. And I'm scared.
Yeah,
Cardinals haven't been up and down.
no, the Cardinals have been pretty steady for the last 20-25 years. Yeah.
Been Cardinals when I was a kid in the 60s. Maybe 80s, even then.
Yeah,
Oh,
the Cardinals were good back then.
I ran.
Bob Gibson. And, yeah. Who was the guy who went rampant on the bases?
Steel and bases.
Yeah.
I used to know. I can't. And,
It's a Hall of Famer.
The guy that was the catcher, he was the announcer and caught. I think something. He ended up being. But still. Lawyer.
Yeah.
His brother played a. Moving in the hot years. Second baseman.
Lou Brock, that's who I was thinking of. No, but he was,
Yeah, he was in the out. And then Roger Maris out there.
oh, that's right. That's right.
Since I've heard just like comments on the sports, Oakland's even worse.
Oh, yeah.
They can't do anything this year.
Uh,
No, didn't they beat the Royals first couple of games?
they did, they took 2 out of 3.
And then they haven't done anything since then.
They're like 11-52. Ownership and management just given up there, just given up. I don't think they really have a major league player on that team at this point. The A's. Was completely throwing in the towel to get out of Oakland at this point in time.
That was a short conversation. Royals, Cardinals. They accepted. I had to adjust. You should have. Okay, no problem.
You see that?
Oh, is that when I said?
No, Tim McCarver.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was an announcer. Yeah, gosh. In fact, I was watching some video the other day of the San Francisco earthquake in '89 happening in Game 3 of the World Series, and he was on the microphone right when it happened.
No, had Steve Call was also.
It must have been later years.
Gibson was worried.
Yeah. Gibson, I just.
I was looking, and I remember. I was looking at some of those years.
You bet.
Gibson pissed 304 and it was now 250.
Well, you know, it's
I remember this couple of things at 1.1 ERA.
Yeah. and they'd worked on the 3-man rotation. That was the same year Jimmy McLean won 30 games in Detroit.
Him and there's a Los Angeles
Don Josh, Joe.
Yes.
Just striking out.
Well,
Low, what you are.
or against?
Okay, John,
Okay, good morning, John Ellerman, Public Works. I have Mr. Trees here if we want to skip to that one if we'd like, or
Fine.
do we have to go? Okay. I was hoping we didn't have to go in order. But, so, I'll scroll down. Mr. Trees has come in a couple times asking about and giving information about an overlook park. They're off of Skyway Drive. Near Ogden. I have set pictures in here as for what the view looks like from the spot we were looking at. And I've set a map location. So we're looking at this area right in here. There's a line here that is the ridge, so this is the flat portion of the right of way that it would be built on if you approve. I think Mr. Treese has said he's had some contact about funding, couple different organizations that said they'd help with funding with cash or with materials and labor. And he has not done any formal fundraising for anything like this yet. He is waiting or would like to have the county's approval of the building and park at this location before he would start any fundraising to do that. And he could speak to more if you have questions for him. I'm sure he would be happy to. I have not put any extra monies in the budget for any development, but I have looked through the budget and earmarked line items that could possibly come from the county if we needed to help with extra funding to make this happen.
I figured it would be more of just kind of a maintenance, so on and so forth thing there, but I didn't figure that would be a huge deal,
I
right?
don't think so. Typically at the KDOT's overlook on 77, 177. We go on a couple times a week, maybe in empty trash.
Yeah.
Maybe pick up trash around the park. Okay. I am not sure we do any mowing up there, but I think we do maintain most of the park, the trash and stuff. We might do a little bit of mowing. So I don't expect it to take a lot of maintenance work. They could do it. It's a little bit out of their way, but it could be done through going to Keats or back and forth between that Keats, Fairmont, Wildcat. They'll figure out a way to make that happen if the park comes up or if we do this. So I think that's where we're at on this project is commissions. I don't know if it's by a motion or a consensus to follow through and accept the park. So Mr. Treese can start maybe doing his fundraising and planning for this.
Have we talked to the landowner across the road that may have concerns at some point in time?
The landlord and see him.
Huh? The house,
That
is that
across the-
house?
That's church.
That's that church
Good.
from that
Okay,
corner.
that makes it easier.
Yeah, that's the church. And the other
That's
section
right.
is where the FDM just
Mhm.
bought or just started their development, moving dirt and stuff, and I think they are one of their
That's,
pledges for.
yeah, and they're actually further a little bit down there too, so I wouldn't. I guess the only thing I would say is, there are some considerable talk and dialogue and discussion about development down in that area, so I don't know how scenic it may be in the future per se, but it's up far enough where you're looking all the way out and above and across, so I don't have a problem with it. I think it'd be
Try to put the entrance right, line up with the SPA just to make it.
Yeah, I picture the entrance
Accessible, yeah.
for sure being in here, if we don't make it some kind of a loop. Type
thing when they come in one way and not the other, but I don't suppose. I don't know the traffic counts, it's pretty heavy on Skyway, I'm sure, but. The view, sight distance is not so bad there that we couldn't do that.
And I think your traffic counts are heavy in the morning and heavy in the afternoon and probably gonna discourage anybody from going in or out of there at that particular point. Most people are gonna look at it on an evening or a weekend.
So
Or
is
so
that
than
just,
not.
is that gonna be just a walking trail or will there be a street access? Is that what you're saying?
I envision, and I don't know, Mr. Treesman, I think there's just a short walking trail up and down. Through here that's not been paved for or gravelled for parking. In the overhead.
So people could park and then walk.
Take a short walk up,
A short walk.
yeah.
It might be interesting to you to know that MCM has asked us if they can put those cement things on at the top of that hill. And you mentioned liability before. Right now, you're probably more liable for somebody running off there than you would be otherwise. And the other thing is, if you're at the top of that hill and you turn around, all the way around, you can see the rim of the canyon. The one out on 177, you have to walk out to the plaque that's out there to see down, and you can't see the other things. This one would be much more visible. And John said to me when we first started all this, that sometimes government takes a long time. Since then, 3 of my supporters have died. And 2 of the 3 openly told me that they wanted to contribute to that. And I don't think they had their lives involved in that. I made a trip with one of the supporters out to the cemetery out by the interstate to see the grave of the original inhabitant of Ogden. And I've been told, and I haven't checked this out, but down in Ogden, there was a brewery and they stored the brew in the hill and to the right of the Fort Riley Boulevard. And there are plenty of other things that are historical. Some of them Ogden's let that skip over. And I think that's too bad when you don't follow through with your history. It's something that is a part of this whole thing. And when you're looking across over there, across the canyon, you see one of the tallest places in Kansas. And that's yours. You can claim that. The other important factor is not only have 3 of my supporters died, you notice I'm on a cane now. And my turn may be next. And we have to try to find somebody who will push things forward and deal with that. I like that area out there. It's I've had to chastise a couple of the people that work with me. They say derogatory things toward Ogden, and you don't want to do that to the place where you live. You want to say positive things. And there are plenty of positive things there in Ogden that you could hold up and say, hey, look. And the 60 plus I work with, and the Riley County Council on Aging I work with to represent John. And I appreciate all that. They always have something going on.
There's a lot of potential out there in that area, all kinds of different things. We don't have a lot of places in Riley County where that's possible. That's the real positive there now. Everybody wants to agree on what that is and what that looks like. That's a whole different story maybe, but yeah.
And we have to plan carefully and not make it look bad.
Correct.
I would like it to look as good as we can do with the money we have available. And you may have to do it in stages.
Yeah, it's typical. Yeah, I'm fine with that. That's fine. Yeah, I don't have a problem. Mhm.
Yeah, motion.
Need a full on motion, is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Rich?
so it's
Okay.
for me to approve the use of the right away for possible scenic
Oh,
overlook.
yeah, there it is. Okay, I see it there. My bad. Okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and move to approve the use of a county right of way for a possible scenic overlook park on Skyway Drive.
I'd second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the use of county right of way for possible scenic overlook park on Skyway Drive. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I appreciate the efforts that you put in, not just for this project. But there's a lot of stuff that goes on that you have to deal with, and I appreciate that.
No problem.
By the way, I live in Random Woods. And other than the noise temporarily, it's progressing pretty good.
It is.
Good.
Thanks for coming in, Carl.
Okay,
Mhm. Take care of yourself.
I hope I'm not the next in line.
No, that's not good. That's not good.
So my next topic is. You were presented with a petition to vacate a portion of right of way along Tuttle Cove Road. This is on the backside of Terra Heights Estates. Lot number 4. As you can see, the plat for Terra Heights Estates and this number 2, addition number 2, has some funny right of way.
Yeah.
Staked out here, or as was good. What I found originally, this was kind of bought up for maybe, or the K113 bypass. So, K13 bypass.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. And then they gave some to the Corps and gave it back to KDOT. My thoughts are that the right of way was built in here to, if a highway came through, they would stair step the bank, the cliff as they look up to the side.
Yeah, okay.
Since it was built and Tuttle Cove put in there, we've never done that. We don't anticipate having to do that.
You're not planning on making that 4 lane anytime, right?
I am not, not in my time. So unless something goes through or that's a big old. The feds do something at the other end, then I think that a really highly attractive place. I do not see that. This proposal still gives us about 85 feet from center line of the road. Of right of way on that side. So then that gives back approximately 0.2 acres or so, I believe. And I threw in some pictures. So basically, we own to up here, well, and we'll still own most of that as right of way. It's this line here is about at inside the corner of the ridge, the ridge line.
Yeah, and I pulled that up on GI, and the right of way is really weird all through there. It just jumps
Trying to
back.
figure that out too. I thought maybe there was some unnatural, I haven't actually been down there to see it, but I thought maybe there was some unnatural growth within the topography there, but that actually makes.
That's it, a pretty steep cliff.
Yeah.
From. Basically in here where we maintain the right of way.
Looks like the tree line needs to be cleaned up there to match the road. We've had some issues down there with that.
We can look at that for sure. I don't know if I would blame the tree line for some of that other than.
Well, I gotta blame somebody.
Okay, blame trees. I like trees better than me. Blame trees.
That was gonna be my next step, so we'll go.
Right, so we'll look at those darn trees. Trees, we'll take care of those trees. So yeah, that's it. They just They wanted, I think what the plan is, they square that off. There's a home right here and they want to split that lot. And maybe try to build something on the side of the hill.
Okay.
We'll see. I mean, that's the plan and that's why they're asking, but. As far as needing the right of way in this area, myself, Alvin and Evan, we don't see any reason why we would ever use that or do anything there. And why not turn it back over to landowners and.
Yeah, if they're gonna build another.
We're a little bit, I mean, back to taxes, we're trying to help out the budget, huh? Always.
Doesn't mean you're gonna get that part of the budget. I'm just gonna.
A couple of cents more than I had before.
A couple more cents. No, if he can turn that over and let it be used for something useful and productive, that's fine with me.
So as, if you're approved this, as, I mean, the person signing the petition owns the property. So it's illegal as far as that goes, their legal petition. We have a hearing date. For June 26th at 9:15. And I just gave Rich an updated or corrected notice of hearing. That we will post and once it's signed and we will publish and. Come back on that date to. Have a hearing. Up to them. And basically it'll be a viewing hearing here all at the same time.
Okay.
To look at the aerials and Google Maps if we have to.
Just get up in a helicopter and take pictures with the phone.
Buy me a drone. And we would.
Yeah, speaking of, I seen one of those out flying. They were doing some imagery. Saw I was coming back on Friday and I want one of those too.
We have a couple
Pretty
of
cool.
consultants around here that have a drone that has LiDAR capabilities and can do their survey.
That was one of them. That's what it was. Yeah. Around there.
Had one.
They have a drone. I've always wanted to have one to do bridge inspections with. So I didn't have to climb up
Mhm.
and underneath.
Yeah,
Sometimes you
not
have to
climb
get
up, it's
up in
climbing
there.
it's the underneath.
The only problem is I couldn't get the camera to flip.
Yeah.
Up
Yeah, you
to
can't go
look close enough or
Can't go
high
that
enough
way.
up there.
Kind of like what just happened over in
Upside
Pot
down.
County on one of the bridges on Louisville Road there. Ouch.
I didn't read what happened.
Or what happened to us out by you a couple of years ago. Emergency repair. 19, I think it was. Okay. Nah, that's fine with me. So I don't have any other questions. Okay, so we need to move. Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion to accept the petition for the vacation request. And approve the notice of public hearing as proposed.
A second.
Listen, move and seconded to accept the petition to vacate a portion right away. And to set a public hearing for June 26th. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sean. Next commissioner, you have Darrell E. Several budgets, 11:05.
This is the last of them, right?
Relax.
Okay.
Promise.
Not the last you hold you.
Yes, I promise. That's just part of it.
I know, that's what I was wondering. Normally it takes 3 days and we've stretched
We can just make.
5, 6, 12. I mean,
No,
good thing we got that R&R in place for another 2 months.
yeah, we're good.
Yeah, the deadline was at 10 o'clock because elections are at noon. So,
Okay, got
this one doesn't count.
We're done now.
Which one?
And there's several really important ones out there though. For sure.
Everything only takes my.
Next Thursday.
I suppose we could be like the feds and we can just print it and kick the can down the street and write blank checks and.
Let's just raise our debt ceiling.
Yeah. I was thinking about calling a credit card company and going, hey, can you just increase my debt load, please? Because it seems to be
We'll
popular.
never pay it back, but.
Right. I figured I'd just extend it out till I pass away and then somebody else's problem.
No, I've gotten so many credit card companies wanting me to sign up for credit cards. I'm like, nope, don't need more of those.
I've got one and I make some big purchases on it, like the second or third week of the month and stretch it out for 45 days and pay it off with no interest.
I just cut down to one. That's it.
Yeah.
I would suggest having two. This one time we had problems. We had only had one and something we got, well, it was one of the target things that got lost. So then we didn't have one for a week until the sense.
Yeah.
Which I mean, wasn't big, but that's what we've always.
Use it on service.
Yeah.
Well,
I keep it one for the urgency, but
Yeah.
are you all ready for the last of the budgets? And then you get to work on the worksheets and the real.
The real work.
The real, this is
hearing,
the.
this is hearing the
This
numbers,
is the
right?
wish. So anyway, Daryl Eady, Budget and Finance Officer, sir. Thank you for having me, Board of Commissioners. We will start with the bond and interest fund. In here, we have the special assessments for your districts and stuff like that. We collect that, then we pay it out down below, along with some other interest on other bonds that we have with the county, mainly with the fire district and a few others that we have. And in here, I built in an extra 20,000 for the High Plains. We don't know the answer on that one yet. But I threw it in there because I'd rather come down than go up at this point. So, and it is again, just an in and an out amount. We also have the 52,000 for the Conza water, which you'll see again later on. And we have that one until 2028.
That's what I thought. I mean, I know this, I thought most of them, and it looks like most of them are special.
Special assessment.
Special assessments, yeah.
Special benefit districts.
Benefit district.
Uh-huh.
that's-
Yep.
Correct.
But you said we have some, what are our?
We have some other facility and bridge bonds and. I was trying to think what the other ones are, but most of them. I think they were all.
We can bring a list of those.
Yeah, I'll give you.
I've
got a list of them.
I thought,
Give it to you.
and you said the fire, but I thought the fire department listed it under his department.
Right, but we also pay it under. They transfer into CIP and we pay it.
It's paid out of bond and interest. It's a transfer from their funds into bond and interest to be paid out.
Oh,
Just like the benefit districts are, it's not county ad valorem tax, but
okay.
the one I don't see here is the. And maybe it's in CIP, I don't know, the interest on the radio project,
That's in the CIP.
that's in CIP, okay.
Right. And one of the big things we don't have anymore on that one will be your
Hardware reset,
your road breakers.
Oh.
See that
we
nice
bought that lease
reduction.
out. That lease was ending, we bought them.
oh,
Yeah. Next we have the general services is one. You will notice that your employee separation and all that type of stuff is increased. Baby boomers are retiring. And we're getting hit by those right now, so you'll have a lot of payouts and vacations and those things. There's a spreadsheet that Elizabeth gives me that we work off of to come up with these numbers, to pay those off.
that
They're
really,
just
really
the
came
ones
up.
we anticipate. There are others that are still eligible too, so.
Right. And you always get hit with at least one, it seems, or two that
And
you aren't anticipating.
unexpected, yeah.
There's no
Yes.
requirement for them to let us know.
Most of the
Why
rest of
social
this.
insecurity isn't gonna be there.
Huh?
Social insecurity gonna be there.
Just keep working.
Yeah.
for us, John.
I am. Sadly, I am.
I appreciate that, Jeff.
And you wonder why our generation's so angry.
Thank you for your contribution.
Yeah.
Except right now, I'm putting in.
Yeah, no, it's not straight. You don't even credit for working.
You're right.
Boo, hoo, hoo.
Everybody else does.
That did not sound sincere.
No, I wasn't.
I appreciate you young whippersnappers.
Yeah. The only big adjustment under your contractual is, I made an adjustment under the indigent attorney fees. We've been discussing that a little bit, and this will include those increases,
Maybe.
maybe. Well,
If we,
if I don't budget it.
Yeah, no, I got you.
You can't come down on it, or whichever direction you go, or up.
So that's the only really big one on here that you'll see on the contractuals. Of course, down below, we have capital outlay, which some of that, our budget stabilization, which really helped our bond. That really helped, remember, in our bond repricing and everything just recently. 1.89 was leftover funds from COVID that we're spending through years.
We
And
still
then,
have 1.8 million through CARES. Or am I
well,
looking
they
at that?
called it several things, COVID, CARES.
And
Are we gonna have to give that back?
No, we've actually spent it out of general items, and that was all items that were approved.
Okay,
Salaries for like ambulance and stuff like that. But we also want to use it for something else.
well, if it's not, I would suggest start earmarking it because.
Yeah.
It already
it's-
has.
I'm worried about them, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm worried about the ARPA.
but we did get the approval of this, what we spent it on. Before moving it, but we
Oh,
still
okay.
earmarked it.
Okay, good to know.
We worked with Matt and Hanson and O'Brien.
Okay, well then, yeah, I'm comfortable
Use
with
it to
that.
offset salaries, so basically it goes into our carryover, so then we can use those monies for the other.
Yeah.
Earmarked items.
Any other major questions on the general? And then next is the capital improvement.
Oh, yeah. there-
The investment interest right now is at 253,000, as what we've collected so far this year. But in June, we have a big payout. In July, we have the big payouts. So our interest amounts will start to come down. So working with Shiloh, she thought this was a comfortable number to use, was 400,000 for that.
That includes the interest on the federal funds?
This is just no,
Okay.
that's a separate area.
Disaster funds.
Disaster funds is,
Yeah, we have a separate. fund
We have a
for-
separate fund
For
for
the
that.
14 million, that we have. It's in a separate fund of its own.
I know it is, but is the interest that we're drawing?
yes,
Okay, okay.
yes.
Okay.
In fact, we just got 61,000 today.
wow.
The 886,000, that is for the radio.
Right, okay.
Towers and stuff like that.
I missed that when I looked through it.
Radio
Yeah.
tower, hardware refresh.
Right.
You've got several different ones under that same line. And
Right.
I missed it. That's.
And here's your lease payments you were asking about. The radio tower payments, as you see, this year, we have the big payment for the last lease payment plus the payout of your road graders.
300 graders, wasn't it?
Yep. Was it 3?
4?
4.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's
So-
what John presented last year.
Yeah,
Better
yeah.
Go ahead and purchase them.
Yep. So we'll have that taken care of.
What
And
year
then
are
the
we in?
2,398,000 is the reserves. They're on your cash flow account. We have that set aside for the cash flow. Some of it's for. Well, there's multiple parts of it. In fact, I brought it. Your CIP reserve, your fair reserve, your FF&E reserve, the Fed funds for the highway, and the hardware refresh reserve.
That's
It's all there, and that's where it can be spent from.
That's
This
in
is-
25, right? The hardware refresh on that. But that's year 8.
Is that?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's coming up pretty quick.
because it started in 18, right? So it'd be 18, 19, 20, 21, 22,
Let's check
23.
Russell on that.
It's, I did look and found some of the old invoices and stuff, so you're pretty close on that.
And that gives, do we, in year 8, can we refinance? Not that we probably want to, but.
In 2028.
Yeah, we probably
It's not
won't.
looking good, like, it'd be a good opportunity to do that.
But we had the opportunity to, that was built into it, if I remember right.
Compared to when we had the original rates as they were back then. I don't see many refinancing opportunities in the near future.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I don't think it even matters who's in DC these days.
Nope, it does not.
And then your economic development fund as well. Of course, here's your 52,153 for the Kanza. Your other ones, I put in the numbers currently that you've been using. You'll notice the 6,057 goes off with the last payment. on the auto lane is this year. So that'll go off and you moved up the K-18 ramp portion to 25. The MPO stayed the same.
That's gonna actually come down a bit.
Okay.
Both of those allocations,
Yeah.
I think it'll be about an $800 difference, I think, if I remember right, approximately.
And the other thing I did want to mention when we were talking about the economic development were some of the other groups that have come in. Of course, today you had MATC, 50,000. You had the Sunflower Coalition Children's Group today, 17,452.
That's not economic.
Be Able did finally come up with a number of 23,000.
That's not economic development.
Three Rivers, of course, presented, that was 4,200. And then the Food and Farm Council is 35,000.
The thing just with the sales tax to the city, to the small, I thought that was under.
We moved it to appropriations, 160.
That's because we're transferring it out of
General.
general.
Now, Jim,
Okay, I thought at one time they
at
talked.
one time it
It was
was,
gonna be.
because we couldn't decide if we were doing it out of appropriations or out of here. We decided appropriations
Oh,
was
okay.
Mhm.
the more correct, so we moved it over
That's
there.
based on discussions with the bond council and the best way to handle that legally, since we can't transfer it directly out of the sales tax funds. So
Right,
Right.
okay.
And
we had several meetings over that.
yes, we did, and saying the appropriations makes sense because the agreement even talks, it anticipates that they'll be coming in.
Oh,
To, hopefully they'll certainly be invited to come in and say, hey, this is coming.
And I think from a legal standpoint, if the cities are using it like Ogden to offset some personnel costs or personnel services, that's obviously not economic development. So when you go back up the chart, it doesn't.
okay. I just-
Gives a little
I know
bit more
one time that's when we were
flexibility.
talking about it. I just wanted to-
Yeah.
We just have to remember, when going through the budget process, that is one thing that's an added, potential ad valorem tax. But remember, we're getting the offset of the revenue from the sales tax that we're gaining, so.
It's a wash.
It's a
basically.
wash, but when it
But
comes
not
to the
for-
mill levy, it may not look
Yeah.
as good.
Yeah.
But remember, there's money in public works to get it from.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Always.
they can always push their trucks.
Yeah.
If we can keep them pushing it.
The other thing that's gonna be coming out, we decided the animal shelter contribution will be coming out this year. Because you're talking about a whole different gamut of all that.
That's one way of putting it.
But that's under appropriations as well.
Okay.
So I believe. Oh, got the RCPD, can't forget them. So far, I mean, a lot of this is basically the same. I'm gonna make a couple tweaks on it. Your electric and gas, we don't really pay anything there. I found it back in 21, but I think it really dealt with the range more than anything. And water is also used to deal with the range. So I will, I was gonna talk to Rich later about that. If we can't just take some of that small pieces out.
Mhm.
The only thing I've heard thus far, and this is not official, and it will not be official until sometime after June 20th, but I needed a number to put in. Was our obligation to the RCPD, was the estimate was $5,380,160. And again, that's not official.
You're basing that off the
There was a preliminary,
3-4% increase or.
they had that hearing and stuff. just
Right.
A couple weeks ago, a few weeks ago, and that's what I'm basing it off of.
Okay.
That's the only number I have right now.
Yeah, it's.
We always annually get an official letter from RCPD, and we haven't received that yet, so this is just preliminary numbers, to kind of give Commissioner a snapshot of approximately where it may end up.
Yeah, she, when I talked to them, they said after the 20th.
Yeah, so
they should get an
we'll have
official
a
letter.
law board on that and we'll probably officially vote on the budget. I can't tell you where that's gonna go at this point in time, honestly.
Well, yeah, well, again, that's totally an unofficial number,
I voted
But we
to
gotta
make the
start with
publication
something.
statutorily required, doesn't mean I'm voting for it either.
and we're gonna have several work sessions before we're
Mhm.
done with on the budget, I'm sure.
Yeah,
So, again, this is just a starting point for you. And next Thursday, oh, and the new one. the municipalities flight addiction fund or opioid fund.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
opioid money.
That's what it's officially.
Couldn't figure out what.
That's what's.
I asked him to add beside that title in parentheses
Opioid.
opioid for several years out from now.
Um,
Guys paying attention over there? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm expecting the ambulance, the health department, community corrections, and possibly even the attorney to start submitting requests for
Everybody gets
some of
in
those
line.
funds. Exactly. We started talking about it Tuesday. Because we'll be doing that out of the Budget and Finance Committee.
Hmm.
Some requests, just like we did for ARPA.
Mhm.
A scenario, and we're going to use that as the beginning request. Okay.
And then it'll still be the board's call.
Yeah.
Just as it was in all the others.
Yeah.
That was fun.
But I can definitely
It
see,
will be again.
Yeah, no, this will be a little less panic though, so it's all right.
I can definitely see in the ambulances, you want the special drug to counteract fentanyl. And that type of stuff.
I've had several non-county related services and programs asking about that too.
Oh,
So,
really? Not surprised.
yeah, I'm not either.
But in this budget is pretty much just an in and out. I did a flat into the other contractual because we are gonna spend it, they're gonna spend it. So that's where we have it at this point.
Any question on those commissioners?
Not at the moment.
Look them over and start bringing them next Thursday.
Commissioners, it's time for Julie with an out-of-state travel request.
It's Mike.
We make a motion. And
Please.
yeah, we make a motion that we recess as the Board of County Commission and reconvene as the Board of County Health.
So second.
It's been moved in second to recess as Board of County Commissioners and reconvene as the Board of County Health. All in favor?
All right.
All right, good morning. Julie Gibbs with the Health Department here with another out-of-state travel request. This one is for Paulina Gattaca. She is our part-time MRC Medical Reserve Corps unit leader. She is paid for through the NACHO grant, that money that we received, and this conference that she wants to attend, or that she actually is required to attend as a unit leader, is paid for also through that grant. So she'll be traveling to Indianapolis this month, and that is again required of her to attend as a unit leader. These are the estimated costs.
I like that.
Yeah.
That works great. Can we get all of them like that?
We do have estimated costs, and again, it will all be covered through the NACHO grant.
Okay.
So I apologize for that. Rich, do you want me just to send the correct?
Send it. I mean, I'll get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. That's pretty, is that yearly? It's yearly, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thinking it was in Phoenix or some place last year. We were talking about that. Okay. I don't have anything else. Okay, then I'll go ahead. And make a motion to approve the out-of-state travel request for the Riley County Health Department.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to approve the out-of-state travel request for the Health Department. All in favor?
Aye.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. We're looking forward to 11:25.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead and make a motion that we recess the Board of County Health and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to recess as the Board of County Health and reconvene in the Board of County. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good morning, County Commissioners. Elizabeth Ward, Human Resources Director, and I'm here today with Julie Gibbs, who's the Health Department Administrator, and David Adams, the MS Director, and Jacob Clark, our Clinic Supervisor. And we would like to talk to you about a change or an update to the pandemic-related leave policy. And there's a little background there. This is all related to our personnel policy. There is a specific clause that allows you to enact our pandemic policy, giving expanded leave opportunities to employees when we are in a pandemic. So currently, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, our employees are allowed to choose whether they would like to have annual leave, ESL leave, or leave without pay if they have a COVID-19 related illness. As you guys, I'm sure are aware, the WHO ended the declaration of COVID-19, let's see, what was it? On May 11th, 2023. So we are just a couple weeks into a non-pandemic state. And therefore, we would like to remove those provisions of the pandemic leave policy. Just as I guess, information for our recommendation, that would mean that we're not suggesting, and none of the professionals in the room are suggesting that people will not be experiencing COVID-19. But what we would do is we would treat that illness the same as we would any other infectious illness for our policy. So, if you are ill and you are contagious, we would prefer you stay home and follow the direction of a medical provider at that point. However, you would not be able to use leave without pay or ESL leave without following the provisions, which are extended sick leave, so more than 24 hours of illness.
So that would take off the mask requirement for 5 days. It would, full 10 days.
It would take off all of our requirements that are related specific to COVID-19. So it will go back to, so right there, it says, so employees are encouraged to stay home and use either their annual leave or ESL when they have recognized symptoms of a contagious or infectious disease. Employees are encouraged to follow recognized medical guidelines for determining how long they should remain home. So we're not saying it's a set 5 days, it's just the medical guidelines. And make every effort to not return to work prematurely, exposing other county employees to possible infection. So that is what our current personnel policy says for any type of a contagious or infectious disease. And that's what we would revert to. So there would not be a specific policy to COVID, that we do not have a policy about mask use in anything else in our manual. We don't have a policy for any other illness that says a specific number of days that you would stay home. But the main message is that if you're ill, please stay home and follow the directions of a medical provider. So in a nutshell, basically treat COVID-19 the same as we do cold, flu, and other infectious diseases. And certainly, I mean, I'm here to represent the policy, but you've got the experts in the room with, if you have any, medical related or would like to know more about our discussion.
Questions?
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's been long overdue.
On the board when ready.
I remember having the original conversation on this and
Why?
because it was crazy. I mean, in the middle of the conversation, we had to change in the middle of the conversation and rethink the entire thing. And it took 2.5, almost 3 hours. So, phew.
I missed out.
Yeah, I might have been sitting in the back of the room, but boy, that was not fun times, that's for sure. Yeah, so gladly make a motion to end the expanded access to ESL and leave without pay due to the end of the COVID-19 pandemic.
And I'll second.
So moved and seconded to end the expanded access to ESL and leave without pay due to the end of the COVID pandemic. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioners, next commissioners was the board 11:35.
I got it. You got something, I'm not sure it's cool.
Well, whatever it did.
If you
my
think
brain
back-
this-
What was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the end of this. You just make a copy. So, that was it, and the thing is, we passed you.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to you. I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anything else?
I know.
I was gonna have them.
Well, you want to look at that.
That's the one thing I've.
That was.
That's right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm gonna.
But I mean. Yeah. But I want to make sure. I mean, this is kind of the. We will be able to do it, but I'm trying to get it.
I know.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's one thing.
You'd be able to post me, you post me. Okay. I could do this. If you gotta write a couple documents on there.
Go by there. She's putting this in. I'll look up.
It's not where you.
No, do not. Yeah, it's done. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, we know. We did
Well, you're giving me a whole lot of credit, but I'm not healthy to live that long.
Hang on. I mean, for goodness sakes.
Nobody, no male on either side of my family's made it out of their 70s, so I got that to look forward to.
Thank you. Take care of yourself.
I'm trying.
Incentive.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not paying for myself here, obviously, so maybe not.
We need you, John. We're counting on you.
Come on, you can do
You can
it.
do Can I get you a carrot?
No, because I don't know if it's a poisonous weed at this point in time or not, so you may outdo yourself on that.
Well, just in advance, thank you.
Well, you really guys like doing that, don't you? You really like doing that.
They've already- I already saw something like it's within 5 years that the benefits drop to about 75% of what originally was estimated.
It's a zero that not gonna get.
No, much better than zero.
I'm buying lottery tickets. That's my retirement. I have more faith in that than I do in these federally funded Ponzi schemes.
As long as you keep paying for mine.
Watch that thing on that 3-part series on FDR. It said some words I can't say here on live stream while watching that.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Was it impactful? Was it, you recommend it?
Oh, no, it was good. I mean, if you want to learn about presidents, yeah, it was solid. I mean, it kind of go through its entire timeline. Yeah.
Honestly, for your health and our retirement, we can need you to not get your blood pressure at that.
Yeah, you're gonna be working 3 jobs. You got it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean,
it's 40 years Out of me.
Everything. you-
Good Lord.
Calm down, keep the blood pressure low.
You gotta.
I'm putting you all in retirement homes and sooner than you think.
Yeah, that would cost you more.
No, it's gonna cost you more. Drain your savings first and then we'll take care of it with the supplement.
You ready, commissioners?
Yes.
Okay, well,
Definitely.
Top that.
yeah, I've got kind of exciting recommendations,
Yes,
but
you
I
do.
don't know.
Yes, you do.
So again, Elizabeth Ward, Human Resources Director, and I am excited about this proposal to make to you. We are so fortunate to be able to have committed to send 3 of our leaders to different training programs, leadership training program this year. 2 people were approved to go to the High Performance Leadership Academy, which is through NACO. And then we also last year approved a sponsorship for Flint Hills Regional Leadership Program. We've been sending people have been participating that years, but now we're official sponsors. So we worked pretty diligently to try to find the best opportunity for Riley County. So looking at our leaders, looking at those that had not participated, and then trying to mesh that also with their availability and, kind of their annual schedule for 2023. And as you can see on your attachments, I did include the agenda or the course outline for the High Performance Leadership Academy, as well as the agenda for the Flint Hills Leadership. And so you can kind of see how those progress over time. And what we'd like to recommend, and we've got one of the nominees here, and I know the other 2 are excited as well, but we'd like to recommend Julie Gibbs and Corey Meyer for the NACO High Performance Leadership Academy. And we would like to recommend Amanda Webb for the Flint Hills Leadership Program. And basically, those recommendations are made on a couple of things. Obviously, this is not limited to department heads, but we have these fairly new. I mean, Julie's been here now a couple of years, but we were a bit busy.
Why? Why were we busy?
I don't know. There was something going on.
Busy and not allowed to travel.
So we would love to be able to have that impact, because both of these department heads have a significant impact on Riley County. They are both very interested and they are able to fit the schedule into their workload. So that, I think that is important. And then Amanda Webb, also a fairly new department head, and with projects that she has upcoming, it would probably be most fitting that she is making some connections and networking with the community. So this is a regional, the Flint Hills is regional, and we feel like that will be beneficial to her overall mission as well.
So, and I'm not questioning these, but just
Sure.
the process. Did people have to apply? Did they apply, or did somebody recommend something, or?
We did both, yeah, we did both. We sent out nominations, we talked about it at the department head level. And some people just volunteered, yes, I would like to apply for that. And then what we did is we just took all of that, and some of the people are really interested and would like to do it another year, but just not good timing this year. And then just trying to see, so, if maybe an assistant director or a supervisor wanted to attend, but maybe the department head hasn't done it yet, the information really flows down. And it's not that department head has to, but they're going to be able to grow on that. And we get information back, particularly from the NACO one, that's saying, hey, here's what they're learning. Here's what you can incorporate into your leadership there at Riley County. So it'll become more of a team effort if we've got both leaders on board.
I just wondered how the process worked, then you kind of had to go to selection, pick. How much did you have? A lot of people interested, or?
Well, I'm trying to think back now. We probably had a list of 10 plus people. And then, there's kind of alternates as well. People saying, yeah, I'd be interested, but maybe not. Or I would like this person to do it, but I wanted to work on maybe some supervisory 101 type skill sets first. And so just good conversation. And I know Anna mentioned she's here specifically just for support as a department head, because we had discussed it, and obviously Julie's one of the nominees. But yeah, I think overall this would be very well received with all of our department heads as well.
And is this something NACO's, is it new?
No, it's been,
We just have we?
I think
don't
they're
remember doing anything before.
no, their first year of this was in 18. When I went out to the annual conference in 19, I brought it back. And in fact, we had one for free for doing it the first time. And then there was the same thing there, another scholarship equaled out to 600. So 2 in Anna's office, I believe, took it. And David Adams was the other one that took it at that point in time.
Okay.
And that was in 20.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to say for sure, but yes, previously, I don't know if it was 20.
I think it was 9. I think we did
it
it at the end of 19.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not,
And
even though being
David,
virtual, I'm not sure that everything got organized in 20. So.
well, it was all virtual to start with.
Yes, but
Yeah.
even with that,
Yeah.
I'm not confident about 20, but.
Yeah, and I had the opportunity to talk to the entire group when I was out in DC in February, and
Mhm.
their intent is to continue as much as they possibly can with allowing scholarships and some incentives and stuff to get county leadership involved in this. And this is a whole coursework that was developed and established by the late Colin Powell. So you can kind of plug in what you want to plug in there in terms of what it is, but.
Well, and we did ask the nominees to be able to come back and share.
Good, 'cause
their
I'm-
experience so that we can
well,
evaluate the return.
And I want to talk about that just a little bit too, because I think it's important in this process, because we are still using tax dollars to do this, that we have maybe a mid-course update from both of you, and then a summary afterwards, so that we can hear that, and then the public and everybody else can hear that, and the same on the other
Great
end.
suggestion. Yes, yeah, we thought about a wrap up, but that'd be great. to
Yeah.
get it mid.
Yeah. I just kind of considering the kind of new realm that we're in. Anytime you can use these things to help develop people and keep them on board and promote the leadership and the professionalism that's, let's face it, that's required here at Riley County. I think it's important. So.
Any other questions?
Okay, I can go ahead then and move to approve Julie Gibbs and Corey Meyer for the NACO High Performance Leadership Academy and Amanda Webb for the Flint Hills Regional Leadership Program.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve Julie Gibbs and Corey Meyer for the NACO High Performance Leadership Academy and Amanda Webb for the Flint Hills Regional Leadership Program. All in favor?
Aye. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, tonight's on 11:45, huh? Oh, yeah, it should be fine. It should.
Oh,
be
I
fine.
forgot. You're leaving.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
How can you forget?
Okay,
I can run back.
okay. So I take about a couple minutes.
Yeah, no problem. Commissioners, have a good weekend if I don't see you.
Yeah.
You too.
Thanks, Cindy.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Good, how are you doing? We're down to the last 10 minutes.
Clance, did you see mine? They about what Font County did with their edition,
I think so,
their final.
because I've been seeing some of that. I don't know, might not have seen your email.
You know, they had, you know, originally they proposed 77. I think they agreed.
That sounds familiar.
It's a little over $800,000 for the entire year, so that would never make sense.
So they went, but they went 5750, 7.
Yeah.
So I don't.
For three of them.
They didn't say I.
That's how many were working on it.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. I think how many they were just giving the dollars on the radio.
Well, thanks to.
I mean, 800,000, 3 of them working on that. That's a pretty good payout. So, right.
I'm just moving forward.
There you go. Well, you're not too far.
No, it's only takes. I'm only 7 minutes. Okay. Clancy?
Afternoon, Commissioners, Clancy Holman. I guess like morning, Clancy Holman, Raleigh County Council. This item, as it indicates, is a request to fill a position based on my announced retirement date. It's the same kind of methodology that was used to find the replacement for retiring deputy county councilor Craig Cox. The same theory behind it, and it's just a recommendation, but it would include the ability to have whoever is selected to fill that position have some in-grade actually work experience here within this organization before they actually assume the responsibilities for the job. So that's the concept in a nutshell. You'll be happy to know I did not do any of the numbers, none of the calculations are mine. So and I know the person who did, and I'm comfortable that these reflect reality. So
Or if not, you're just gonna throw them under the bus like you typically do.
there is that too.
Is that college algebra stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But just wanted to present this for your review and see if this is something that the board is willing to support and obviously has budget impact. Thanks, Chief.
Could you scroll down a little more, because this is the grade, but the budget impact is a little different.
Gotcha.
I tried to make this clear, but I didn't know if you had done the math on it. And
Yeah, it was college algebra.
yeah. I know it's not hard, but I know sometimes when I get these tables going, they, doesn't make a lot of sense, but basically with everything happening in the department, the actual impact isn't as high as a position would be because of the approved 2023 budget, the change in the deputy counselor pay rate for 2024.
So that was gonna be my question, because I don't remember this being line item in your specific department budget, but then again, we hadn't had the conversation yet, so that makes sense. But so I'm trying to make sense of what that's gonna look like for a half a year next year.
Well, and I can throw it in there because I have it in my worksheet. I have it in there so that we can figure out.
Okay,
But we didn't want to put it in the budget because you have not approved it. So if you want to see it in a budget format for that department,
I put it as maybe a separate line item contained within that, and then we can either,
yeah, I mean, it's not, we didn't want to make an assumption it's something you would approve, but
right.
we want to see it in the whole.
Because this year we'd already approved the budget, and we had to come back through and,
And we were trying to avoid that.
right, I
Trying
got,
to
and
get
that, I
that.
appreciate that, yeah.
This one.
Absolutely. So but basically what you've approved for 23 versus what we've requested for 24, the impact of bringing this person in would really be about $38,000 increase. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to have savings if you didn't approve this, right?
And that's based on starting it on June 30th.
That is, yes.
Which
Which of course is based on us finding a candidate and getting them in the door.
If we don't make that date, then it's gonna change.
That's what it would be. That would be the most, yes, that would be the most expensive option. So if we were able to have someone in mind for that time period.
And what's that based off of? Is that based off the floor of the position, or is that based off the ceiling for the
It
position?
is based on.
The mid.
mid-range.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So technically, there could be a little,
There definitely could be. And a lot of times I usually put it in at about 9% because we don't get, for most positions, we don't get to the mid-rate. You have to have pretty significant. But I wanted to be really,
okay, I was thinking if you went to the full range, it was about a 30. No, it's more than that.
well, and I will just be honest with you, I will never recommend a hire at the top of the pay scale.
Yeah, just in terms of trying to maximize the number itself, I was
Yeah.
thinking that'd be about an extra 15 to 16,000 on top of that if you went that way.
I
Because you're
can't
splitting it in.
imagine a situation where that would be the best option for the county.
So the midpoint is pretty, it's, I assume that's the market going rate.
It is, that's what, yeah, that's what when we did our salary study, that's what we came to with the market, and it is comparable to the county attorney's salary, they're in the same salary band.
No, I think this is a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I guess my other question is more of a logistical question, but where the hell are you gonna put them?
Oh, God, don't ask me
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, doing it now.
Yeah, exactly.
Just gonna put a divider in that room and just split it up, or?
No, Craig
No,
at
Craig
that
will
point
be
will be
gone.
enjoying his retirement.
Oh, that's
It'll be
true.
gone.
That's right. That's
Exactly.
right.
We actually, one of the things, just as a sideline, I mean, we arranged it now so that our former conference room is our new deputies. Well, I think she still qualifies as David for just a brief period of time. But we've outfitted that as her office, and we originally were going to say that, well, when Craig goes, presumably, this is before he hired anybody, they would move into his office. But quite frankly, we may end up just leaving it as is, depending on what the incumbent in that position wants, because we could certainly use Craig's office as a slightly smaller conference room. I'm open to whatever works. We'll noodle that through, but we're not going to be short an office.
Okay.
Unless Craig just refuses to leave and has to be dragged out.
Sounds like an HR problem with me.
It kind of does, doesn't it? Yeah, it really does.
So I guess just to be clear, would you want to see that in a budget format of the whole?
Yeah. And I'd like I said, I think it'd make more sense right now to have a separate line item for that, and then we need to take it back out or add it back in,
Well, we'll
depending on what our
specifically
members are.
talk, and You'll be able to tell that would be the open position, so,
Okay.
yeah. Will do.
With that, if you're ready, I would still ask for the motion.
Yeah.
Plan.
Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion that the Board of County Commissioners approve the requisition to open the county councilor's position on March 1st, 2024. It'll come sooner than you think, and follow the timeline outlined above.
I'll second.
So moved and seconded to approve the requisition to open the county council position on March 1st, 2024. And follow the timeline as outlined. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Elizabeth, for doing the math. Commissioners, I wanted to run something past you that's not on the agenda, but we made reference a couple times. You have several fence view applications that have come in. It's time to start thinking about some alternative dates that I can use, and in talking with the landowner who made the application and whatever opposing party there is, to whatever the dispute is regarding.
July and August when it's getting hot out.
And you tell me, make it as uncomfortable on yourselves as you wish. I'm thinking, I told Rich I'd be making this request. Obviously, we don't want to start it next week, but I don't know what your following week looks like. I'm going to need some guidance, but the time period, normally what we've done is, in the past, of course, the board has done these normally in the afternoon when you come back from a lunch break. And I'm thinking, looking at the travel time for at least the first couple of these, what we've got is about 3 hours total involved from leaving here to getting back. If you spend an hour at each property, each of these first two properties I'm looking at for fence view is about 35 to 40 minutes away each way. So you build that in, plug in 10 minutes to possibly hike into each of these far northern properties and hike back out.
You said hike?
Hike. That's right.
Okay, well, then the price should be.
It's not in my contract, so.
Because you want about, normally what we've tried to do is schedule about an hour at the site where you reach the fence and you're looking at the fence. You're gonna want to give each side about half an hour to talk, and they may not use
So
it.
you're talking about trying to do two at once.
No,
You're saying
I'm
3 hours, that's just for one.
3 hours is for one.
And before, are you gonna give us a briefing on what?
Oh, yeah.
About
Oh, absolutely.
beforehand?
Oh, yeah, you'll get plenty of
The
information.
meeting beforehand to let us know what it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There won't be any mysteries what you're there to
I
discuss.
didn't know if there was two close enough together to hit two of them. at
I
once.
think that's asking for an awful lot, even though these are both to the north. I didn't even look at that because usually one is enough in an afternoon.
Oh, okay.
By the time you get there, and depending if you change here, if you want to change into some boots, and highly recommend you
said
no
hiking,
three-piece suits. Not a good idea.
Doesn't sound like it.
No. I haven't done one in a while, so I guess it's cosmic justice coming back to land on you.
I've never done one, so.
I haven't either.
So
We talked about it, the one in 19, but I think somebody worked it out, I guess.
Then you're perfect for this. If you haven't done, it's time to learn.
All the piece.
on June 19th.
Can you retire like early? If we don't have to do them, we can say our county council's too new, we can't do these. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I got you. I think the 19th is a holiday.
Yeah, it is.
June 19th?
Yes.
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth.
Oh, that's
Is
right.
that an official one now?
It's a
is.
federal holiday and we are
That last
policy.
year, anyway.
So I think if you can give me maybe 3 dates that might work, that gives me something to work with.
I've got a meeting, 4 o'clock meeting on the 22nd,
26 as an intergovernmental.
yeah.
I have to wait till after that, which
which would be fine.
I don't have any.
I'm gone July 3rd.
So the 26th would be one possibility, the afternoon of the 26th. Are you thinking you prefer to start at 1:30, 1?
Well, we're gonna get out of that at 1. By the time we go home and
Luckily.
change,
It may be,
well, the school
Intergovernmental.
district's doing it,
okay.
so Kurt's been pretty good at getting us out of there at 1.
So 1:30 probably leave time,
Yeah, I
are
guess
we thinking?
chance to change.
What date is that?
But how's that gonna work? I mean, you're gonna have to go all the way home.
Well, no, I'll bring some clothes. Bring
And
a
what
change.
date was that?
26.
26th at
Monday.
1 o'clock. Yeah, well, 1:30.
1:30.
1:30.
The 29th,
Ish.
the 29th.
29th, we've got.
29th?
Meeting.
Oh, yeah, the 29th, we're meeting at night anyway. We
Yeah,
could do
and we
one,
don't want to go all day.
we could do one in the morning.
If
Oh,
you
yeah.
allow that, you'll destroy your agenda that day.
On the 29th.
On the 29th, we're doing Vanderbilt at night.
Night.
Oh, that's right. Good point.
It's our evening meeting.
That would actually be fine.
What are you
Yeah,
thinking of
yeah.
that? What time are you thinking about in terms of leaving from here?
4 a.m.
All right,
Time I get
So we're
up.
just gonna have one, we're only gonna have one commissioner on that.
apparently, and no lawyer.
It's like 5:30,
Paradox.
5:45.
Mhm. What are you thinking, 9 o'clock?
Yeah, that works.
How about one more date?
I
And
think,
please pencil these in if you would.
I think you're looking in July at that point.
Yeah, I'm gone. So I'm
Yeah, I just would like to start the 3 dates,
Then we go to the 6th of July.
So we're going
26th
26,
and 29th.
30, 29. 9 a.m. you said on the 29th?
Yeah, those are exit
And
dates.
we call this what, a fence line?
It's a fence view. You're
Fence?
viewing a fence. Normally it is to assign maintenance. It can be to assign costs. One of them will be to assign costs.
What was the other date for that?
26 at 1:30,
20.
29th at 9 a.m. and I don't know the third one yet.
As Greg said, July 6th would be the first Thursday.
I'll have a 4 o'clock on that date.
That won't
Not to
work.
say that we can't.
Well,
You have a short meeting or something on that day and not go to sandwich.
I don't think you want to, I don't think you want to count on that. As I start talking to the various parties, it'd be easier if we know a date that actually will work.
I guess you. Looking at the 10th. and
10th. How about Monday, July 10th? And is that isn't one, we're doing them quarterly now, right? So is
Well, have we
that,
done one? Yeah, I guess we did. Okay, that's right.
so is that why it's on that date scheduled to that quarterly meeting? So you could have a, you can still leave at 1:30 if you want. We can look at the 13th.
It is.
Thirteen, 1:30, is that what we're saying?
Yeah. And I would just count on, as I said, about, it may be a little bit less than 3 hours, but you might as well just assume 3 hours.
Now, this is for 2 fence viewings or 1?
No.
fence?
Each of these dates is one fence view.
Okay,
I'm gonna try and plug both of these in if I can. On those dates.
on those dates, okay.
But not more than one. You won't want to do 2 in a day.
That would be too much fun.
Well, we'll just give you a chance to pull the ticks off, you know.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
It might
I'm
be
not
fun.
going outside, so, you know, that drone idea is sounding more better and better every month.
Yeah, can we use a drone to just
Yeah.
do the fence view?
you know, if you think that that's worth defending, then that's. worth-
Derek, order us a
I
drone.
have one.
All right, good. Thank you for those. I'll let you know, and we will talk about each one.
Yeah.
You'll be prepared for it. You won't find out about it as you're there. We used to have a prosecutor down in Sedgwick County who was, people swore, he was very successful. He was very good. And he was a career prosecutor. But they swore that some of the witnesses would swear that I think that that person is learning about the case as they ask me the questions. So, but we won't do that. Thanks very much. I'll keep you posted.
Okay, anything else?
If there needs to be anything else at this
No,
point.
no, it's actually, I'm just asking the question.
He, every time he comes back from someplace, it's buried.
That's right. It works.
Some of those ideas was not here.
I know.
Is that what it is?
I don't think we're gonna let you leave anymore.
Yeah. Know if there'd be a public mandate for that.
Anything else?
No, I don't have anything else. I guess with that said, I'll make a motion to adjourn the June 1st meeting of the Riley County Commission.
Second.
So moved and seconded to adjourn the June 1st meeting of the Raleigh County Commissioners. All in favor?